up, Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Liberty Den. How are my co-hosts, Brian and Jatri, doing this evening?
Best week ever.
Gets better and better, man. It's all good. Doing well.
Neither of you sound very...
No, I'm excited. Hey, Gart's next week. How you know how much I love Gart's? I'm going to be really fired up.
You never actually show up to the conference parts, but
no, that's the boring part.
Well, this time you have to because you're going to be on the panels.
That's true. That is true.
That's some breaking news.
Yeah. Hopefully, I have a voice by the time I'm on a panel.
Are you losing your voice?
Last Gart, I couldn't talk by like the second day. It was bad.
That's right. Yeah, I can't believe that's next week already. It's gonna be a good time.
Yep.
Very good.
Really good time. Which, by the way, guys, if you haven't yet, get your in-person or virtual tickets, both available. But yeah, what a weird, wild, wacky week this was.
Yep.
We have no shortage of topics. I for sure want to talk about the Pam Bondi thing because that hasn't been talked to death yet. And then the Zelenskyy thing today was nuts. We can talk about whatever else you guys want, but maybe we should get to our sponsors first.
Sure.
Just to let the audience know, I do think rumor is Zach is joining us after his show. Alfredo, Mr. Alpha Warrior, said he's going to join us at some point, but he's on dad duty, so he's probably not actually going to join us. Ghost, I think, said he was going to show up. We'll see who else. See what happens. But first up, our sponsors, we got Mike Lindell over at MyPillow.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Thank you, Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Our last sponsor tonight, or final sponsor, other sponsor, is Rise Attire.
Hey there, Badlanders. Do you love Badlands as much as you hate communism? Do you want patriotic apparel that's not made in China, but also won't make you look like a dork? Well, then we've got just the thing for you. Introducing an entirely new line of official Badlands gear made in partnership with the Culture Warriors at Rise Attire and Rise INTL. With 4 brand new collections of original artwork across a wide range of products to choose from. Spread the signal with deep-cut symbols from devolution lore to the ghosts in the machine on the front lines of the Psy War. Wrap yourself in America the Beautiful with the warm tones and textures of Badlands National Park. To the eye of the storm in Mount Rushmore. This is premium quality streetwear, custom made to order from scratch just for you by the Patriots at our East Peoria, Illinois facility. Don't wait. Explore the entire store and order your new gear today at badlandsmedia.tv/rise. Represent Badlands boldly and proudly. This culture war ain't gonna win itself.
Thank you, Rise Attire, making our merch. Guys, great way to support us. Wear our merch. Show it off.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Who wants to start talking Bondi stuff, maybe?
You talking about the rug pull yesterday?
Yeah, whatever happened yesterday. That was so funny.
You know, I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure this has been hammered to death, but I read an interesting theory because there's all kinds of theories out there, but I think it was Jeff Childers who does that coffee and COVID Substack, but I could be hat tipping the wrong person, but he basically talked about how right after that photo op, Trump met with Starmer, the Prime Minister of Britain.
Yep.
And he was making the claim that possibly it was a bit of a a sort of warning shot from Trump, because Starmer was going in there basically to try to strong arm Trump into like getting hard on Putin, and that sounded really bad. That's what she said, right? He's getting tough with Putin, let's say, and that because Prince Andrew is one of the most high profile clients of Epstein, that perhaps, and we know it's only the tip of the iceberg, right? The only thing we know about Prince Andrew is he got sued by that Virginia Jeffrey and he settled out of court for $12 million. But if there is supposedly, like they've thrown out there, there's video, there's all kinds of thousands of more pages, maybe he was just sort of like a false alarm, but like a little bit of a warning shot, like, hey, you're not coming in here making demands of us. We can basically collapse your whole little British royalty system there with some of this dirt we've got on Andrew. So that was, I thought, kind of an interesting take, because it did happen right after that photo op, and it kind of went under the radar, I think, because of everybody was so absorbed with the Epstein stuff. So I don't know, what are your thoughts?
We mentioned that today on Daily.
I missed Daily this morning, so yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good. I drew the comparison with Jimmy Savile. And the guy that directed, I believe it was either the director or the producer of the Netflix documentary on Jimmy Savile, came out like a year and a half ago or so in the Daily Mail and said that he's uncovered a high-profile pedophile that is so big that he can't even reveal it until the guy's dead, because it would shake things up in the world too much. And I'm kind of wondering, is that something that had to do with Epstein because of Prince Andrew? And is that why the king extended that unprecedented second state visit? So I like that theory. I'd love to see where you saw it, Jay, so that I could.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Cool.
Yep.
I guess. By the way, what's up, Ghost?
What's up, dude?
The way I'm looking at it is like, what are a couple of things. Just that theory alone, there's no way they didn't know what time it was, where the Starmer was coming in, like where he's going to be. Like, he knew that by sending those people out that door, or whoever did, they knew that they were going to be caught by the press. So that was clearly intentional. That's step one, understanding that was intentional. They also knew that they didn't have to time it that way, where they were getting their picture taken coming out. Like that meeting could have taken place after the meeting with Starmer if they didn't want the information out until after. So why have it take place in the morning before the Starmer meeting at all? And why send them out that door unless you want them to have pictures of the binder taken? And the second thing is, like, did you know that they were going to go out there and like show off the binders? Because if nobody knows what's in those binders, does the whole Epstein thing blow up like it did? And does the Starmer, shot across the bow even take place or matter? Because they were told they had a embargo on the information. They blew it themselves. That's why I think it was an exposure op. Like, here you go, guys. Let's see if you can do it. Let's see if you can be responsible with this. They totally dropped the ball.
100%. 100%.
You had, I think Liz Wheeler was on Glenn Beck or something and said that they only came out and showed the binders because the media started taking pictures of them. And I don't believe that shit. Yeah, I don't believe that shit at all. But one of the things that I think is interesting is, I think Wheeler had told them all that, hey, this is mostly stuff that's already out there in the public and, whatever. I don't know that that's true, because they looked genuinely excited. Like they had the golden ticket, like Charlie and Willy Wonka.
They sure did.
Well,
They looked like they, and so I was like, here's what I think is going to happen. They're going to go out and get this binder. They're going to start combing through it, and they're going to start putting this shit up on social media. And I'm like, when it comes out that this is stuff that we've known about for years, and we start calling them out and showing these old posts and showing what a fraud a lot of these people are, that would have been an exposure op. And then what do you get? I think it was Bill Maloogian comes out and he's like, we're told that this is all stuff that's already been disclosed and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, there goes that op. They knew. They were told in the White House. Like, that's what they say, but were they?
Well, I think multiple of them have said that.
There's some behavior, like you study the behavior of some of these people and like what they were doing, and there is some indicator there's truth to that. Like, for example, some of them like meandered out and kind of like walked into the photo op. Some of them like beelined it out of there. Like Nick Freitas, I didn't even know Nick Freitas, who for those who don't know, he should be my congressman right now. So Nick Freitas ran against Abigail Spanberger in 2020. He's like a former Marine or whatever. And basically was kicking her ass the whole day. And then at 2 a.m, they found a thumb drive. This was like national news, a thumb drive with 15,000 votes on it. Every single one of them was for Abigail Spanberger, CIA soccer mom. She ran on the, like, her whole campaign was, I'm a former CIA agent, and that's why you should vote for me. She was already in Congress. She was running for re-election. She's now running to be Virginia governor, and it's very likely she's going to win that. I think she probably, you know, if nothing changes, she's probably going to win that election. But yeah, like, she's obviously being positioned for a much higher whatever. But Nick Freitas rolled over and showed his belly. He should have been like standing on the table like she stole the election. Everyone was standing on the table. I know people who were a part of that campaign who blackpilled after that and were like, it's fucking over, man. Like, they were deeply involved in the campaign and they blackpilled after that because they're like, I can't believe Freitas was obviously like a bad actor. He ran out of the White House. I didn't even know he was there, but he then posted later, held up the binder, was like, I was in the thing. First thing Bondi said was, none of this is new information. You know, the SDNY, the Southern District of New York, is withholding all the files. And so then he goes on to say, if Bondi doesn't go in there and arrest all those people, then she's a shill, basically.
So then what's the point in the binders? If none of that was new information, what was that was clearly for attention?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Ash has a theory that I was talking to her about earlier, and I think she's spot on. She thinks Susie Wiles orchestrated this whole thing, the Ice Maiden. She's known for doing this kind of stuff. She's known for manipulating people. That's why she has the name Ice Maiden, is because she does this kind of stuff. She brought these people in, according to Cernovich, according to a number of the other people. They were brought in on a totally different pretext. I don't know. We don't know what it is. Could have been an APAC meeting, as Ash said. Could be anything else.
Where's that information from, though? Like, how do we know they were brought in for different reasons?
Cernovich, basically all of them have said that they weren't told they were going to be given binders, and they weren't told they were going to be handed anything. Like, that was
I don't know
all.
if I believe that.
Yeah. Very, 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 very fair. Like, I don't believe anything these people say because
Exactly.
they've lost all their credibility. But all of them, DC Drano, Cernovich, they've all said they didn't know they were going to get a binder. They went in there, were handed a binder. Bondi told them none of this information is new. And then they're sent out as they're walking out the door. It's like the Starmer photo op is prepped really for them. And man, they just walked out. They walked right into that ambush and made total asses of themselves.
The interesting thing to me, well, first of all, Ash has a correction. She didn't say that she's known for manipulating people. I said she's an incredible strategist. That is a pretty big difference. And people are wondering, based on your hair, how many margaritas you've had tonight.
2 jumbo.
Oh, dude.
Prepping for getting ready for Vegas, huh?
Yeah.
Prepping that bladder.
We need to put an air tag on Gordon for Vegas. So
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
Think of the timing with Bondi, though. Like, there was no need, considering she knew that they didn't have any new information to release. There was no need to go on Jesse Waters the night before and announce to the world that we're going to be releasing some information tomorrow. Didn't have to do it.
That's why I think she's trying to smoke somebody out, right? Like,
these cunning people. Like, who else would it
cunning
be?
People. Maybe it was a shot at Starmer, you know, to let him sweat a little while he's coming over here to meet with Trump, and what's going to be in those folders. You know, she said these people did really, really, really bad stuff. You know, that implied that there was something she's seen that's different than what we've all seen already. You know,
yeah, except none of the files that she put out that she had any of that stuff in there.
And didn't she made it sound like she just found out through this whistleblower that there's thousands of pages in New York at the FBI office there that is being withheld. She made it sound like that was new information, like she just got that information. But yet she has this letter to Kash Patel, like ready to go, saying, I want all that stuff by tomorrow morning at 8:00. Did she get it? Does anybody know? That was
whatever happened to that?
I haven't heard a word. Another interesting aspect of this too is, like, you think of everything that we're told is in these Epstein files, and they're so desperate that they won't even give it to Pam Bondi. Like, why haven't they just destroyed it?
Right.
Just destroy it. but they still exist there. So I wonder if this is just a weird story we're being told about the files, and they had possession of them over. This is like to buy them more time, maybe, or something. I don't know, and expose some conning grifters in the process, because every one of these people, in my opinion, like proved they were frauds by doing this. Like coming out with, oh yeah, look at us, we get the first dibs. All about transparency though, and they all were super shady about it. That freaking DC Drano video he posted,
With my
none of
Nokia
them followed directions on the
Yeah.
embargo. Like, don't tell anybody you have this stuff, and then immediately go out and like hold up the binder as a picture.
Did you
What a
you
joke.
guys hear Elon Musk's take on this on the Rogan podcast today?
Haven't listened to it yet.
I just heard it a couple hours ago. My friend had it on the car, and he said basically that, it's like Rogan was asking the same questions, like, why would Bondi go out there, make a big deal out of this, and then have really nothing new to add and stuff? And he said that basically, like, Bondi and Cash are new, they're basically their underlings were basically their mortal enemies, and now all of a sudden they're their boss. What was the analogy he used? He said it'd be like becoming the captain of a ship that like was your enemy, and all the crewmen are like looking at you like you're still their enemy, and they're not going to give up any evidence that they did something wrong against you. So that seems like pretty simplistic, but like, would she go to all that trouble to smoke out like the people that were hiding this stuff at the FBI? Or it just seemed like she already knew they were hiding it. So why not just go in and fire or arrest those people for not obeying orders? It's insubordination. Like, you have every right to go in and make an example of these people. And we know that there's been a lot of other things in that district, right? We've got the Wiener laptop, the Hillary emails that have been missing for however long. Why not just go in and take care of these people? Is this part of that? Maybe it's going to lead to that.
I mean, the whole thing was clearly an op. It's just, what was the op? Maybe it was even a multi-phase
Multiple.
op.
It could be multi-phase. Could be all those things. We might be right on every one of those.
Definitely. Something weird though.
Well, I mean, the two really key points there. One is, if this was really just about smoking out the people in the FBI, smoking out the people in the DOJ, whatever it is, just hold a press conference and call them out, right? I mean, if you really wanted to bring attention to that, there's a way to go about doing it to make them the story. Instead, she goes on Fox News, she chums the waters to get everyone super excited about the Epstein release, right? Which also gets the conning grifters super excited about all of the engagements they're going to get on their social media, because they're a bunch of thoughts. And then they bring those people in, they hand them the binder. And as Ash pointed out to me earlier when we were talking, off stream, those binders were huge. They're thick. They're way too big to put in a bag. Like, even if you had a backpack or a briefcase, you weren't shoving those in like, you had to hold them in your hands and walk out with them. So like, the press was going to see the binder and take a picture of you holding the binder. It was going to become a news story. There was no reason for the binder to be that big. You could have easily conveyed that information in a much smaller package. So it seems like they got set up.
They didn't have to label it on the front of it like the Epstein Files Phase 1. They could have just left that one page out, and nobody would know what's inside.
Yeah, it was such an op. Maybe it's a two-part, smoke out, right? Like smoke out Con Inc. in part 1, and then smoke out those FBI insubordinates after.
I think they need more time. If with all the videos and stuff they say. I did think one part of the letter that was interesting was them saying, like, regardless of where the source was or what the source was. That was pretty interesting. But maybe they just need more time. They know people are like getting a little feisty here. Maybe there are going to be some criminal investigations or probes started. They need to bring people in. I don't know. And so, but this is a way to like pin the blame on the intel community that Cash and Bongino and the FBI and everybody's going to be going after here. I don't know. There's so many levels to it. It's just funny.
I will say though, like, my normie conservative friends are like blackpilling real hard on this. They're like, we're never going to get any more information on Epstein. That's the end of it.
Good.
Nice. Well,
good.
Okay.
We want normies to, because you kind of have to blackpill at some point in order to understand how bad things are. And it's like, if people just thought that this was going to be a walk in the park, man, then you don't really understand what we're up against. And you kind of have to recognize that things are that bad. Things are that bad. Our government is 100% controlled by a very, very vicious cartel that will happily trot out these social media, Instagram thoughts to distract you with shiny objects and then, shiv you in the back when you're not looking.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of amazed me people still black out though. Or not black out, black pill. Well, blackout
People
too,
definitely still black out, John. That is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
You'll see
I can't imagine your hair when you black out. No, but the black pill, like with what we went through these last 4 years, I guess you said normie friends, so maybe that's different. But like at this point, it's like nothing could black pill me anymore. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't let the information itself affect you, maybe it's just because I have such low expectations of that stuff these days. It's hard to get let down. But I don't. Why would they black pill, Jay?
Because they just, they got their hopes up and they thought, oh, we're going to get all the juicy stuff because they know enough to know there's a lot more than what we've learned so far. And
so they must not be normies.
They're a little to our side of normie for sure. Yeah. They're well, cause they come to me for information, so I've given them stuff, so they're expecting, they were really hoping that something substantial was going to come out. And when it didn't, I think it got them really down again. And and they go back to nothing's happening. They're the nothing's really happening crowd, So it's easy for them to fall back on nothing's really happening. See, if something was going to happen, it would have happened. Now they just look foolish and we all look foolish and, they just feel like they got rug pulled. So, and I think we're going to get, it's the timing of it, is everything. And I know that they know what they're doing and there's a reason. This was clearly an op, right? So none of us believe this was like, they really thought they had something here, but then but then it was stuff we already had and they didn't know that. I mean, there's no way they didn't know that. In fact, the stuff is unredacted. That's been out there for years. This was more redacted than the stuff we've already had in our possession for a while now. So that's leaked. So, so I just I don't really know what to say about it, but I just tell them, I'm like, look, timing is everything. There's a reason why they're rolling this out in waves and you'll get more. Just hold tight.
Looking at the people that were on the list, do we have a full list of everybody that was in the room? Does anybody know?
I don't know if I've seen that.
I mean, I have a picture that I can show that does a pretty good job. Let me pull up her. And I know people may disagree with me what I'm about to say, but I don't really care. Is there anybody at this table that you can think of? I mean, you got Jack Posobiec, what's his name? Pressler.
Chad
Prather. I think that's Savannah Hernandez. That's Colin Rugg. That's Dinesh D'Souza's daughter. That's Rogan or DC Drano. That's ALX Cernovich. I don't know who that guy over there is. Let me open this in a new tab.
Yeah, so you can
open a new tab, zoom in.
I don't know who this is there, but then you have Liz Wheeler. This on the way front right. Is that Alex Stein?
God, it kind of looks like him, but I don't think it's him.
I don't think it is though.
Yeah,
I thought I saw him at one point too, so it might be him.
Then that's Emily Austin next to him, who's a big Israeli shill. That's Nick Frida's next to her, and then I can't tell who these three are in front, but they have name tags in front of them.
Yeah, I mean it's on the other side of the name, but anyway, like any one of these people that I just listed here, do you consider them to like tell the truth or at least try to tell the truth at all times? Do you consider them honest or trustworthy? Or
No.
are these like social media, Twitter, freaking clickbait shills? Because that's what every one of these people are, in my opinion.
Jack Posobiec DM'd me in 2018. I had like 40 followers. It was only because I was interacting with a bunch of people who were all posting Q memes. And I was kind of playing dumb. But he DM'd me on my old Twitter account and told me that him and his friends, he spent like 30 minutes, him and his friends DMing me, being like, we started Q as a joke. Stop talking about it. Literally said that to me.
Insane.
The only one there that I would maybe be a little questionable about is Nick Freitas, because what you just said, Gordon, if there was a USB with 15,000 votes, all for his opponent,
yep,
that had to be planned that he didn't contest that.
Oh yeah.
So I'm thinking like
outrageous. He didn't contest it. Outrageous.
Right. So I'm not writing him like that's so outrageous that I'm not writing him off as, feckless, especially considering he's at the White House right now. I mean, as far as I know, he's not like an influencer, is he? He didn't start like some.
No. He has like my wife follows him. Like he has like a social media following where he posts like very normie content about like being a good husband and like that kind of stuff. And it's like he's definitely like a social media. He's not like these people where he's like doing hot takes, but he's doing he's definitely doing like a super normie, non-political social media bit.
Being a good husband is a normie take.
I'm saying it's like here are tips on how to make your wife happy. Here are tips on how to be a good father, like stuff like
how to please your wife or something.
Yeah, it's just dumb crap like that where my wife is some people just like he's such a good guy. It's like
okay.
So one thing I want to go, and maybe you guys will know this better than me. I was told that there were a couple documents in there that were new. One of them was the evidence list. Yeah. And that was one of the first things I actually looked at because I'd never seen that before. So that lends credence to that. That is the list of things that they need. If you're going to get any prosecutions out of this whatsoever, black books, contacts, flight logs, none of that shit matters whatsoever. Circumstantial at best. But what was in that evidence log? Tons of USB sticks, CDs, laptops, computers, iPads. That is all the shit that Pam Bondi's going to need. That's the stuff that we're probably not going to see much of, but that's the shit that will lead to prosecutions. And I think it's really interesting that they put that in there and put it out there in the public.
I would agree. I want to finish making my point about the people in the room and why I think it's important, because every single one of these people, in my opinion, again, by the way, hey, Zach, what's up?
What up, homie?
Every single one of these people can be bought. Like, I think every one of these you could buy them and like essentially have them dictate narratives for you. DC Drano was given wasn't hundreds of thousands of dollars from a political action committee to advocate for a certain marijuana bill in Florida. Didn't that happen?
Yes, that would totally crush local growers.
Yeah. So like these people, they don't care about the truth. That's the point. They care about their social status and their money. And to me, a lot of these people are the same. And maybe I don't know them all, and so I could be wrong. But when you consider that's the case with these people, and these are the people who were hardest hit by this op, them and maybe Pam Bondi. To me, if it's an op, these are the people hardest hit. That was the target. It was these guys. It was just
Pam Bondi can recover because she can eventually release the information.
Yeah.
And all will be forgotten.
She can say she was lied to. It was holdovers. It was the people in the deep state that didn't give her the information she requested. I thought that the letter that she wrote to Kash Patel was rather savvy in the way that she phrased it. Like, I continually asked if this was everything, and I was repeatedly assured that yes, this is it. But now it's come to my attention that you're a bunch of lying ass bitches. And you actually got a whole bunch of other stuff that you're not giving me that was in the hands of Maureen Comey, right, to be honest with you. When are we going to round that broad up?
And 0% chance she thought there was only 200 pages of files on this guy, right?
That's
absolutely.
Yes.
That was my biggest gripe. This woman has been a prosecutor for 20 years, attorney general in Florida. Now there's no way she looked at this case and said, yeah, that's it. That's all there is.
That's probably all.
No, especially because there was 3 separate cases. You had the early case from the 2000s, you had the 2019 case, and then you have the Ghislaine Maxwell case, which, although it is a different defendant, it's certainly going to be connected to everything that Jeffrey Epstein was doing. And the other thing that I thought was hilarious, which goes to your point, John, is that these people who got this binder, they trotted out and they're saying that, oh my gosh, now these people that are giving us this information are heroes. And then you look at the information and it's the same stuff that we had before, which is what I said it was going to be, except it's redacted. It's actually less information than what we already had currently.
That, Zach.
And those people, okay, well, fuck it. I wasn't here. Those people had no idea. And that's my point. Okay.
Let them cook.
They're exposed because they don't know what they're talking about. They never bothered to go source documents firsthand themselves. They had no idea. They just, oh, look at this. Great. Bunch of brand new information. None of it's new.
Like, and this is
real
why
quick.
I hate these people so much. Go what, Brian?
Real quick, Pam Bondi was not AG during Epstein's first trial. She became Attorney General in 2011. His first prosecution in Florida was 2008.
She was at this state first trial.
Any of them. He was his trial was 2008 in Florida when Alex Acosta rolled over to the intelligence community. Bondi was a prosecutor in Hillsborough County back then.
He had no trials in Florida. He was arrested again in 2019.
His criminal conviction was 2008. His prosecution.
And
But he
was
was
that
arrested
Palm
again.
Beach County?
He was arrested again in 2019.
Yeah, but there was no trial for that second one. It was only
But
it was
he
a
would-
case in
there would have had to been a
SDNY.
case that would have had to lead to the arrest, right?
Definitely. And you know, the plus besides that, Jeffrey Epstein had been like a source and like a confidential human source and an operative for the FBI since like at least the mid 2000s. Okay, so the FBI down there in Florida at a minimum would have had a ton of stuff related to that. And so again, you know, searching Jeffrey Epstein within the system, and there's a number of them that they could have looked, would have returned a whole bunch of relevant returns for them. And I think that the whole thing was all about exposing the fact that we can't trust the people who are there.
Okay.
2019 was also federal.
Yeah.
I'm sure they got a ton from Florida, but yeah.
Well, and even the
Wow,
case
Ash was wrong. Is that what we're?
She does that often. It just goes under the radar because I don't make a big deal.
So the case down in Florida, there would have been a county component, and then it was kicked up to federal because the feds were totally aware of and using Jeffrey Epstein. Then Palm Beach County starts getting reports of him pimping out 14-year-old girls, and so they do their own investigation. The feds catch wind of it, and they're like, well, shit, we can't just let this go. We need to intervene here. And then they grabbed it. And then that's when Alex Acosta came in and said, sorry, guys, this is one of our boys. We're just going to give him a sweetheart deal. Did you guys know that last month, his former cellmate from Brooklyn came forward and said that while he was still alive, he came to him and said, the FBI just pulled me out. And they told me that they would let me out with another sweetheart deal. I'd spend a couple of months in an easy live and work camp, and then they would let me go. And all I have to do is give them information that would impeach Donald Trump. He said they don't care. They don't care if it's something I can't prove, only as long as it's something Trump and his people can't disprove so that they can use it in an impeachment. I had not seen that when it came out a month ago. And I found it yesterday when I was looking for stuff related to the docs.
And people think the FBI can be rehabbed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this instance here proves it even more so, just drives it home.
And I think that's probably the whole point of it, Zach. I mean, at least one of the objectives, because look at like every agency in the government right now is being smoked out of insubordinates, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the little stunt of Elon sending the email like, tell me 5 things you did this week. If you didn't respond to it, or you were told not to respond to it by your superior, you're in trouble. So, and even though some of those were told by people like Cash, I think it's still the point was to get to smoke people out that are working against the administration and their goals.
MSNBC is lit as fuck today, by the way.
Why is that?
Oh, did you not see the clips I posted in Telegram
of Zelenskyy?
No, of MSNBC going full sovereign alliance.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Like full blown sovereign alliance.
Pretty crazy.
Dank.
I want to play this clip because this is a clip that I think they're the target.
You should be thankful right now for Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel and President Trump for doing what they promised and releasing this. You should be doubly grateful that the way that they're releasing this to the American people and exposing this corruption is through the new media. It's through us. We're doing it. That's one of the most encouraging and fantastic things that we've seen from the Trump administration. So
we should be grateful.
Cringy.
It's turtles all the way down, boys. It's turtles all the way down. Rugs all the way down.
You
know what I like most about her?
Centralization.
What I like most about her is that she looks like she could be an extra on Mad Men. Like her outfits are always like perfect 1957 housewife, like home coat or something like that.
I've literally never seen her show or speak or do anything before until this airport video.
She was on, what was it? Was she on Newsmax previously, or like Real America's Voice? She was, or maybe it was OAN. I don't know. One of those three. She had been an anchor on there, and then they spun her off onto her own to siphon audience.
Well, what's her thing? Is she super smart? Is she
former network anchor? That's it, as far as I know.
Mildly attractive?
Not really. Like what?
Mildly.
She's not bad.
Okay, we can use the word mildly, I suppose.
I mean, it depends on the kind of look you're into. I mean, she's definitely
no comment.
I just don't like. I don't know. How do these people get followings? I'll never understand.
Could be smart.
Well, I mean, quite literally, somebody said OAN. I think that's nobody would have known about her if it wasn't for the fact that she was on OAN. And then she gets spun off to be the Con Inc. acceptable alt media personality who has part of this network of larger Con Inc. alt journalism personalities that can be used like the mainstream media used to be used.
This is another one. Listen how she answers this and repeats herself twice. Like, it's coming out, or what? I don't remember exactly what she says, but you can tell she is not taking well how poorly people are reacting to the way this went down. She doesn't understand why people hate her so much.
Hodge twins quote tweeted my my photo from outside the White House and said, "This is embarrassing. Post what's in the binder." Well, we are. There was an embargo on it until a certain time.
We are.
Look. This is the shameful aspect of this is that even after they started getting called out, like DC Drano at whatever time it was, because remember, I mean, your show at 1:00 yesterday, John, you were talking about this. So they got this whole thing happened around like noon yesterday, like 12:30. And then at nighttime last night, DC Drano actually started posting page by page. He was like doing like a video walking through the binder as if he was bestowing some knowledge upon the public. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I mean,
and he filmed it with a literal potato. Like, look how bad the quality. He lowered the quality of the camera just so that he wouldn't actually release this information.
He got done playing Snake and then went to record it with his Nokia 5130.
Seriously.
With his burner phone. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't see anything.
It's just like, oh my God, dude. It's
you see that there's paper there.
I can just hear him saying, like, world exclusive, guys. First time ever.
Look at all those black squares, guys. Look at all these black squares. This is amazing.
You got his phone book. Wow, you found it. You found it.
How much of a jackass must the guy at the White House felt like printing all these sheets out with all the black squares on it and then hole punching them and putting in the binder? He must have felt like such a jackass.
Yeah. I hope what they do, like if they're going to release documents, they're going through a review process, right? Everything goes through a review process. So they have to look at a document and see, okay, well, is there anything on here that we can't put out? Okay, good. Instead of like reviewing everything and then releasing it all at once, give us every time you review a document, send it straight to scanner, upload it one at a time. That would have the most impact. Because if it's one big chunk in one document dump, it's a little overwhelming. It's hard to get through everything. Everybody's rushing to try to get the big takes out and stuff will get missed. But if you do one document at a time, that'll be way more explosive and more fun. It'll be like, you drop stuff.
Exactly. You're waiting on the edge of your seat for that next one to drop. That would be fun. It would be a lot easier and a lot less overwhelming. You'd have a lot more eyes on it.
Yep.
That would destroy my life for the 4 years that it takes him to release all these documents.
Yeah, we'd all be.
To move my camera closer.
Oh, that is true. That's funny.
we prefer.
Everyone's a critic.
We prefer the pea-sized head of CanCon on Friday night, especially with the lights off and the blunt in his hand. Yeah. Exactly.
It's like a Sith Lord back there.
Don't turn the lights on, man. We don't need to see that.
That's so funny. Well,
Truth Stream has rated.
Now I'm a Sith.
I don't know what Truth Stream is, but they just raided our chat.
Well, thank you, Truth Stream.
What's up, homies? Welcome to the party.
Thanks.
So,
thank you.
one thing that was kind of mystifying, and I'm, hoping this is the reason it was done, but it's completely ridiculous that they would redact all of that information that had already previously been released in a number of venues. Like, it doesn't make any sense unless the person who was doing the redactions was like, I'm definitely on that guy's payroll. I'm definitely on their payroll. We cannot put this name out there. We can't make it any easier for them. Even if people know that it's out there, most of the people are not going to know that it's already out there. And so I hope that there's questions that are asked about that, because it's very clear that they didn't only redact the names of victims. Like, there's, plenty of people that are listed in there that are part of the document dumps that are not victims. They haven't been proven to be guilty parties yet necessarily, but I think there's certainly a strong insinuation, and there's a lot of relationships that Jeffrey Epstein had that I think are well worth diving into and investigating.
I would agree. People want a hair check, Ghost. We're going to do a
hair's looking pretty good. Hair's looking pretty strong to quite strong. Got a little bit of a clip, before Vegas. Got to be looking fresh in Vegas. So
you already had the clip, or
yeah. We got the cut today, so
this is post haircut.
This is post haircut for sure.
Jeez. So you know what he reminds me of, like an early 2000s boy band member. Like, just run your hand through your hair again, Ghost, and try to look coquettish. There you go. Look into the camera and call out to all those mothers.
Define coquettish.
Oh, kind of.
Use it in a sentence.
Oh my god! I set myself up for that one.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
You don't even need to define it with words. A picture's worth 1,000 words.
That's so funny. You got a haircut today. My haircut's Monday. But I can't grow hair like yours. You're just so damn thick. So jealous.
It goes fast, and it turns into a helmet, like a mushroom. So you know that I need a haircut when it just turns into a mushroom. But I did do an X thread today.
On Cernovich. That was pretty fire. I was going to retweet that too.
Yeah, on Cernovich, because Cernovich, not only does he have a history with Alan Dershowitz, like going back to apparently his whole internet career began in 2004. He started a lawfare blog. He's a lawyer. He went to law school, didn't get licensed until 2013, but he starts this lawfare blog in 2004. His blog posts, like his articles, are getting used not only by law students, like in their thesis, it's also being used by the 11th District Court, the 11th Circuit Court, like in their arguments, their judgment, whatever. It's being cited by lawyers. It's pretty wild. In 2006, he writes an article about Dershowitz. He's talking about how awesome Dershowitz is, how much he admires him, about him and Dershowitz appearing together at a speaking event about appellate law.
You said it right the first time.
Okay. And then him and he jumps in and defends Dershowitz, intervenes on the Maxwell case, because what happens is when Virginia Guffrey
nailed it.
Giffray, whatever. Jenny G, when she files her lawsuit against Maxwell in 2015, apparently whatever the evidence was that she filed, it all gets sealed up, and not Dershowitz, but Cernovich files an injunction and a motion to intervene on behalf of Dershowitz, who then joins the filing with Cernovich to get that stuff unsealed in order to free, Dershowitz clear his name, right? Mm-hmm. So eventually the judges do agree to do this. Like in 2019, they eventually agree to do it. As soon as
let's dissect this for a second.
Yeah.
So Cernovich intervened in a Dershowitz case where he was being accused of raping somebody, one of the Epstein victims.
No, it was the Ghislaine Maxwell case where Virginia Guffey was suing Maxwell in civil, like a civil suit, and part of the evidence that was being presented is that she accused Maxwell and Epstein of trafficking her to Dershowitz and forcing her to have sex with Dershowitz. And so Dershowitz was basically, and she was going out like on television and saying that. And then Dershowitz was saying there's exculpatory evidence in these sealed files that would exonerate me, and I want all this like exposed to the public. But he wasn't the one who filed the motion. Cernovich filed the motion on his behalf.
That's so weird.
By the way, also in 2015 and 16, there's pictures of Cernovich and Dershowitz together because Dershowitz appeared in a documentary that Cernovich produced called Silenced about like free speech and the ADL and all that stuff. And so he's at the ADL office with Dershowitz. Very, very weird. So Cernovich and Dershowitz have history. Cernovich files this on behalf. After the thing comes out, like they unseal the files, he immediately changes his Twitter handle to Unsealed Epstein Files by Cernovich. He changes his name to that, and he starts shilling hard, being like, I'm the guy who got the Epstein files unsealed. This is like 2019. He then starts posting anti-Dershowitz stuff, calling Dershowitz a creep, saying he's definitely guilty. He definitely raped Virginia Giuffre, like distancing himself from Dershowitz publicly, like accusing him, calling him a pervert, calling him gross, all this. Like I have all that in the thread that I put together. So at like the most innocent explanation here is that Cernovich is opportunistic and he's a shill. And he basically was using Dershowitz as just like a ploy in order to, like for self-promotion, and then stabbed him in the back after he like got the files like unreleased. But him and Dershowitz were in, like I went and paid on Pacer to get the documents. Him and Cernovich and Dershowitz were filing these motions together. Like they were making arguments together. Like that's how it was all presented in court.
Okay. Can you give us the very TLDR version of the not innocent explanation for this?
The not innocent explanation is in 2003, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center website, which is very well sourced, like this biography, he was arrested for rape by the feds, which is weird.
Wait,
Cernovich.
Dershowitz was actually arrested for
No,
rape?
Cernovich.
Cernovich. Okay.
Cernovich was arrested for rape.
This isn't going to be TLDR, is it?
Well, I will make it TLDR. The charges were then dropped. And a year later, he starts his Lawfare blog. He does that for many, many years. And then he reinvents himself sometime during the Obama first term. He reinvents himself as a pickup artist / like alpha Chad. And he starts writing about how raping women is not a thing. Like anytime you have sex with a woman, even if she's blackout, like totally blackout unconscious, is totally cool. He compares it to like animals having sex with other animals and how it's like it's totally normal in the animal kingdom. And basically is saying that rape is totally cool. Guys should be raping women. Date rape isn't really a thing. If women are having sex with you under any circumstances, it's cool. And is like pushing that whole psyop, which is very, very strange. Like, and that's how he eventually writes the blog about having sex with a tranny, which he does do. That is archived, 100%.
To be fair, that he reprinted a letter from a subscriber, and I don't know why he reprinted it, because he gave no commentary other than to say this letter came from a subscriber, and it was basically this guy who accidentally picked up a tranny, and then once he figured out it was a tranny, he was already getting a blowjob, so he just figured he might as well go for it. And then he woke up the next day feeling horribly dirty and guilty, and like, he didn't know.
In the original post, though, none of that context is there. It's like presented as his writing, and then he came back.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. In the original post, he just posted as his own, and then he came back later and said, actually, that was somebody. But anyway, the point is
that
that
a friend of mine.
Wow.
Yeah,
I must have seen a later archive, because I don't think you can get to it anymore.
Yeah. Point is that like this whole guerrilla mindset thing, which eventually he gets into the bodybuilding stuff and the investment stuff before Trump comes around. But he spent many years doing this pro-rape, like alpha Chad pickup artist crap, where basically, as far as I can tell, he's part of a controlled opposition dynamic to push the whole Me Too movement and like legitimize it. That's what it looks like to me, is he was a part of the right-wing people are actually raping women and are actually pro-rape and think rape is cool. I can't explain. I can't figure out another explanation. So the nefarious explanation, in my opinion, is that he probably was compromised the same way that some J6 people were arrested and then never charged, and then they were doing weird stuff now. I think that maybe he got his charges dropped. And I don't know. That's just pure speculation to me, but maybe he's working for the feds and doing some nasty stuff for them along the lines of being a negative influencer, but who knows?
Gotcha. I've never liked Cernovich, so.
Yeah. Someone in the chat is asking why
everybody's still thinking about that blowjob from the tranny. Is that what we're all thinking about?
D Hammett in the chat is asking, why am I telling this story? I'm telling the story because we're talking about Cernovich and why Cernovich was involved in the Epstein Dershowitz filing. And I don't know. That's the only explanation I have, is that he might be working for the feds in a bad way.
But when we planned it out pre-show, it was supposed to lead into Ghost story about his trip to Thailand, which he really wasn't all that excited to tell the audience. But I demanded he tell everyone.
Oh man,
Guard Thailand.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So moral of the story is nobody in that group, I believe, is trustworthy, and it was an opt to expose them. But we'll see. We should talk about the Zelenskyy stuff from today, because that was nuts.
Loved it.
Did anybody expect that to happen? First of all, no, nobody expected Zelenskyy to like talk back to Trump.
Does anybody
like that.
think that's
amazing?
Is anybody thinking like me that maybe that was staged?
100%.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I sure spats like that go on all the time when there's secret meetings behind closed doors between world leaders, but I've never seen that happen in front of the media like that. So to me, it just looked like a show they were putting on. And man, it gets me back to the whole Zelenskyy is an actor and maybe he's our boy. I don't know.
Let me ask you this, Jay.
Go ahead.
How much cocaine have you done, Jay? Because to be fair, okay, like that did not particularly surprise me that Zelenskyy would start popping off like that.
Yeah,
I mean, he was
absolutely. If he's a hopped up, no, I could see it either way. But I was also thinking initially my thought was, it's like, this can't be real. Like this looks like Trump-a-mania, right, Ghost? I mean,
100%.
There's a wrestling belt right next to him.
Right.
But
yeah, it was amazing. So
but
I don't know.
That doesn't mean Zelenskyy though is necessarily like in on it. Like to Zach's point.
It's not. But there's some people that think like he's been out there grifting world leaders for money, and basically he's laundering it back to them, and it's all going to be a big exposure op to show how corrupt the war machine is, with different countries funding these proxy wars and getting money right back in their pockets. If that was the case, I mean, BB talks about it takes two for the perfect phone call and all that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, this certainly didn't discourage me from buying into that theory. Of course, it could have just been totally organic and it was freaking awesome. Either way, it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, there's two ways to look at this stuff, like always. And I've never agreed with BB on like the full control stuff, because that's what I think this would be. It's like some form of full control. I think it was legit. Like he's an entitled. He's no longer legitimate. He probably wasn't legitimate in the first place, but he's certainly not now after they stopped elections. And the reason everybody else in the world has been protecting him is because of what Ukraine represents to them. Like you said, the money laundering and all this other BS. And he goes in there and he knows he's on thin ice. They agreed to give up all these minerals. Maybe some citizens there aren't happy about that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But he's trying to like one up Trump in front of Trump, thinking that's a good idea. High on whatever drug you said, Zach. Cocaine. Yeah. Clearly, like that nose thing. That's got to be. Yeah. And then he just makes a fool of himself. He begged and pleaded to try to get back in, I guess. Like,
I forgot about him wiping his nose a lot. It's a good point, Zach. He's probably totally.
The other thing is too, much like Joe Biden, as soon as Zelenskyy is no longer in power, his utility to the deep state at large is effectively null. Like, I mean, he's going to be useless. And this guy probably has a lot of information that is going to make him dangerous to just let run around, especially as, a degenerate cokehead loving strippers and stuff like that. But I think that the sooner they get to a peace deal, the quicker they will have elections to get him out of there. And, his prolonging the process, in his mind, it keeps him in a position of power. And it also ensures that he remains, chief of his little fiefdom right there. And I think that, it's not too much to believe that he would think that the money would just keep flowing. And because it's not just the United States. I mean, he's got the European Union in his back pocket, too. And they don't want Russia to succeed, because if Russia succeeds, then it will end up exposing all of them. It's bad enough we got Trump over here. We get Putin and Trump together and in the same room, and everybody stops hating each other. And that's a formidable global chess piece to go against them.
Yeah, well,
you guys
Trump and Putin said though they're gonna hold elections. They're gonna do ceasefire, then elections, and then peace deal. Like they're not gonna let him be the one that signs it.
There might be elections before then. Zelensky.
Oh yeah, they're moving to impeach him right now.
Yeah, he might not make it. Well, the guy that made that move is actually former parliament. I think I saw. There was one guy, good-looking guy with like black hair, black beard. Is that the same guy you're thinking of, Zach?
Yeah, I think that was him. Zelensky had him jailed for just basically talking smack about him.
Yeah, I think
define good looking.
We already had this conversation. All right.
Would that be mildly good looking, or like on a scale of 1 to 10? How would you rate him?
Dashingly handsome.
He's nowhere near you, Gordon. He's nowhere near you.
Rugged individualism. He just radiates.
So when Zelensky showed up there, Trump broke the ice with that by asking him, like saying, "You're looking really good." And then the first question,
he said, "Oh, you dressed up. I see you dressed up."
That's what
wearing the same damn thing he always wears.
So then you get Brian Glenn poking him even further and actually like taking some real shots at him as he's sitting there. So now you've set the tone for the whole entire meeting. And by the way, the wrestling belt on the side, I was watching Eye of the Storm, the Starcade Scavino post, as it was starting, just absolutely epic. 100% that to me that meant kayfabe. This is all kayfabe. But JD Vance was the guy that was prodding him. And as soon as he was, it's like a matador, right? The bull's running around and you're just sticking what are they called? Like banderillas. You're sticking them in the bull, and then you have the matador that just comes in and just executes the bull. And that's what Trump was. We watched a bull fight in there.
Yeah, it was also a tag team wrestling match too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I would totally believe that Trump and Vance might have agreed to, at a certain point in this like open discussion, agreed to do or say something that they thought might inflame Zelensky, because it certainly does put the United States in a better position of negotiation now, because they kicked him out before they signed the deal. You even got Lindsey Graham saying that Zelensky has to step down now. Lindsey Graham has been like literally glazing Zelensky like for years at this point. And so now he's lost his best friend in Washington, D.C. And if, let's say, somebody else does come in, they get rid of Zelensky, whoever comes in, they're going to be immediately willing to take whatever deal the United States is going to offer them. Like, okay, yes, we are going to need, now we're going to need $500 billion of minerals, and we want a perpetual contract to continue extracting it in perpetuity.
It's the ceasefire thing. He wouldn't even agree to a ceasefire.
That was the ceasefire thing. That's where Trump got him. He's like, this guy doesn't want a ceasefire, right?
Yeah. He hates Putin, and you can't have that much hate in your heart. Like, that was a really key moment right there too. He's like, I can't. This guy doesn't want to make a deal. He's got way too much hate.
Play the video. Play the video.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Pretty sharp. He's all dressed up today.
Look how tiny he looks.
He seems super coked up. Like he seems super just lit.
He's tight.
Yeah, he's very tight, very tense. Yeah. Apparently, he had just come from. He took a picture with Lindsey Graham and all like the senators. He just came from like a get together with them, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities that they had a quick little, whatever it is they do in the Senate chamber room.
Well, like any self-respecting cokehead is going to have his stash in the back of that limo.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
But after the meeting, Zelensky did an interview with, or excuse me, not Zelensky, Lindsey Graham did an interview with Fox News that wasn't like, it was right after. And Ash had called me in the middle of it, and I was trying to record it off of YouTube TV, but YouTube TV won't let you record. But Zelensky basically said, I talked to Zelensky right before the meeting, and I told him, all you got to do is stick to the script, man. All you got to do is stick to the script. And he goes off and he goes, all this and that is It's inadequate what he did. Like he destroyed himself and all this, but it made for great television. He literally said that. Those were his exact words.
Wow.
But it made for great television.
Quoting Trump, though, that's how Trump ended the meeting. He goes, "This is going to be great television." He's like, "Yeah," but he's like, "This is all necessary. This is going to be great television." Trump did. I don't know if y'all caught the part about Putin, where Trump said that he said Putin and I have been through a lot together. He said I wasn't the only one who went through Russia. Putin went through Russia too.
That was pretty cool.
Pretty much walked through the whole thing from Putin's perspective, made themselves like co-pilots. Watching the whole thing with J.D. Vance and Zelensky reminded me, and I was talking about this with Ash earlier on air, of The Apprentice. That's exactly how Trump ran the boardroom in The Apprentice, which surprised me because I didn't ever watch the show until I did the show with Patrick a few weeks ago. That's how the whole show was about. That was about people having these really awkward, like almost cringe moments of like interpersonal drama. And then you would expect Trump to kind of be like, all right, guys, like, let's get back to the matter at hand. And no, it's like Trump didn't care about the matter at hand. He cared about that. He would stop him and say, how does that make you feel? And then he'd stop and like, now, how does that make you feel? Exactly like he was doing, where he was like looking at JD and be like, say something, JD. And then he look at Zelensky and be like, what do you think about that? He was like trying to stir the pot and trying to get like Zelensky worked up. Zelensky is either an excellent actor or that was an earnest, like cokehead losing his cool.
Yeah. Speaking of cringy interpersonal drama, you got to watch a little bit of this.
Why don't you wear a suit?
So that's Killmeat asking Zelensky about wearing a suit. But I saw this video on Twitter today and I couldn't believe it.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if you own a suit.
What a pussy.
Exactly.
What are we doing?
Just watch.
This man is fighting for his country. A sovereign nation got invaded. His people are dying. And this motherfucker talks about him wearing a suit.
Yeah.
I hate this fucking country.
With how much money we've sent them, you think he could at least go to JCPenney's?
Sir, you are a fallopian tube.
Men's
You are a
Warehouse?
fallopian tube.
Yeah, that guy was
I mean,
the second
you
biggest fag of the day behind.
You show up to plenty of restaurants in DC and they've got a blazer ready for you if you're not wearing one, right? You know, that's the least he could do. Just like throw a blazer on, even if you don't want to wear a tie.
It's insane.
You know, Tattoo Teacher in one of our little text chat groups said we got like 1,000 of them, but she made a point today where Trump in that clip, he says something like, this is really important for everybody to see.
Yep.
Yeah. And I thought that was interesting. He was really, aware of the show that was being put on, basically.
It also could be like that Zelensky has been, just openly disrespecting the process. And he's the reason peace hasn't been made yet. He's the reason the ceasefire hasn't taken place. It might not be an act. It might just be like, hey, if I leave this guy in front of the cameras for long enough, and we just ask him a couple of questions and pick on him a little bit, he's going to explode and show everybody what he's been doing behind the scenes. Yeah. And
JD definitely poked the hornet's nest, like Brian was saying.
Yeah, this is the part.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
Because if he's doing this in front of the cameras, imagine what he's doing behind the scenes.
Said a lot of times to American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on out here. I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than it agrees. It's going to be a very...
It doesn't even make sense. Like, agree to the ceasefire and then negotiate the deal. Like, why would you not take a ceasefire and then try to get your guarantees? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and Trump is pointing out he doesn't hold the cards. He can't make that demand.
He's spoiled, you guys. He's been handed hundreds of billions of dollars over the last couple of years. He was a washed up, improv comic who was literally handed the presidency after starring on a television show that wasn't very good. And here we are. I mean, they basically plucked this guy out of obscurity, made him a star, put him on a world stage, gave him tons of money. Who knows how much of that money is in private
fame.
Yeah, fake fame.
Beyond what any other actor from Europe has probably ever experienced in decades, probably, right?
Yeah.
And then consider the fact that I have watched Donald Trump play Serena Williams in tennis wearing a full suit and tie.
Absolutely.
He wears a suit, not always a tie, but he wears a suit every single day of his life. And if we're going to accept the premise that this is not a full control situation and Zelensky's being deployed by somebody else, Trump probably hates him for not wearing a suit, right? And
well, he definitely does. That's the first thing he said. First thing he commented on.
Yeah. And imagine how many people have been in this guy's ear leading up to this meeting being like, you better not let Trump push you around. You better go in there and put your nuts on the table and stick up for yourself and stick up for the movement and stick up for Ukraine. Imagine how many people told him
crushed.
that.
And keep in mind who was at the White House the 2 days leading up to this. You had Starmer there trying to be like, they need the guarantees. They need the guarantees. And then Macron on Wednesday, same thing. Give him the guarantees. He was desperate for him.
Yep. You want to play the clip of MSNBC admitting to sovereign alliance?
If you got to pull it up.
I also dropped a tweet, the Ukrainian ambassador reacting real time to
that was good.
conversation.
Oh yeah, pull that up real quick because that's pretty short.
Short names were good.
That was pretty epic.
I want a ceasefire because you get a ceasefire.
God.
She definitely was not expecting it to go that way.
Yeah.
Bad
If it was kayfabe, she was not in on it.
So this is this the first one? No, this is the first one. Yeah, here we go.
Seth Moulton is a member of the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, what happens now?
We don't know what's going to happen, but the concern, of course, is that this is the beginning of the end, that Putin starts not only walking all over Ukraine, but walking all over Europe. And this gets a lot worse on Donald Trump's watch. Why? Because he's somehow beholden to Putin, somehow beholden to the Kremlin, echoing their talking points, a true puppet of Vladimir Putin, rather than standing up for our ally, standing up for our values, and standing up for NATO in its defense of Europe. This is a very
let me interrupt you. Do you think he's beholden? I mean, I know we've been talking about this for 10 years. Do you think he's beholden, or let me ask the question, or is he trying to change the world? Is he trying to reorient things? Is he trying to make people like himself, like Vladimir Putin? I've said this before, MBS, President Xi, who knows? Make them the main leaders in the world, those the empire states, and everybody else are just bit players in this.
I don't get too exclusive. What I started to say is I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's just no other explanation for why a Republican of all people, I mean, a Republican, following in the footsteps of Ronald Reagan, would just completely sell out to the Kremlin.
Bro, that entire episode of that woman, Katie Tur, was nothing but hits like that. I've got a couple more clips if you want to play them, because she clearly watches Badlands or reads Ghost Take.
Well, it's cool that you guys watch each other's shows.
Call me, Katie. Call me, baby. If you want to know about MBS, give me a shout.
I want to play. Did you guys see? We can play more of that if you want, Brian.
Yeah, hold on. Let me play.
Yeah. I haven't watched the other ones, Brian, because you texted me when I was with my kids, so I only saw that clip.
So I'll play one more of this guy, and then we can do something else. And when you're ready, we'll play the next guy.
Republican, following in the footsteps of Ronald Reagan, would just completely sell out to the Kremlin. It just makes no
he's
sense.
not following the footsteps of Ronald Reagan. I mean, he can give that.
That's my point.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
my point. He's completely thrown out American tradition, Republican tradition, everything they've run on for decades just to be beholden to Putin. It just does not make any sense. Now, I do think the Trump-Musk vision of the world is one where America retreats, where we just worry about our own backyard. That's why he's so focused on renewing the Monroe Doctrine, renaming the Gulf of Mexico. It's all about our part of the world. Cede Europe to Russia, cede Asia to China. He really does want America to retreat from the world. That's the irony of what America first means. So there is that view, but I still don't get why he just gives in to Putin.
Well, maybe a new continental order. He wants to make Canada the 51st state. He wants to take over Greenland. He's talking about retaking the Panama Canal, just making it a latitudinal zone of influence for a handful of strong leaders.
I mean,
some great
her
analysis
takes
though.
are based as fuck though.
What?
Her takes are right on point, dude.
Yeah, but see,
Well,
right
I mean,
on point,
but do you get credit at this point for acknowledging the fact that there's some sort of alliance going on? It's becoming, I mean, to me, it's becoming
in the mainstream,
almost cartoonish how obvious it is, right?
It's so cartoonish that an MSNBC host isn't acknowledging it, right?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's like Jeff Bezos announcing that they're now going to report exclusively on liberty and free markets. Okay. I mean, these people are not stupid. They know that their empires are falling. They know that their viewers are scattered to the winds. And if they want to maintain any sort of relevance at all, then they have to change the way that they're reporting about things.
Yeah, his analysis though of like, I just don't understand why everything we've told you guys for the past 10 years isn't true, not reality. What is happening?
Moulton, if you want me to, I can put together a geopolitics for retards like Substack article, and we can start sending it to you.
Geopolitics for Brian, and send it to you also. Just kidding, Brian. I love you, buddy. Are you going to do your geopolitics show?
You're the one that said that.
Yes,
run.
I almost did it today, but then I realized that if I started it today, I wouldn't do it next week because of GART. So I just figured I'd start it the week after GART.
Perfect. Sounds good to me, man. Okay, I just want to play this because this is Scott Besson. I thought he had some awesome commentary on Laura Ingraham today.
President Trump sent me there to, again, we were supposed to bring the Ukrainian people closer to the U.S. people, send a strong signal to Russian leadership that they had not only shared values, but now shared economic interest.
Is Besson taller than Trump?
Yes.
He is?
Based on that, he is.
And also have a strong signal for the American people that their tax dollars were actually going to work. Instead, President Zelenskyy and I had a very tough 45-minute meeting at a very loud decibel level, and I kept telling him, Mr. President, the purpose of this is to show the Russians there is no daylight between us. And at the end of the meeting, he said, well, I'm not signing this. I said, at the end of the meeting, I said to him, what do you want to go out and tell the press? I said, because I don't want to go out and show the Russians that there's daylight in between us. And he said, well, I'm going to go out and say I'll sign it in Munich. Then he got to Munich and he ran into Vice President Vance and Secretary Rubio, very different than Vice President Harris and Secretary Blinken, but he didn't sign the agreement. So finally, we were supposed to have the signing today. It was supposed to be a great day. And this is one of the biggest own goals in diplomatic history.
Well,
That's insane.
So did you guys talk about the fact that they Rubio announced shutdown of all support for the Ukrainian energy grid?
Really?
We haven't talked about it, but yeah, he did announce that. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So that's obviously going to put another level of pressure on Ukraine because I would imagine Zelensky's going to get the brunt of the blame for that. That'll hasten his departure. And then Hegseth also directed CENTCOM to cancel all missions against Russia, all defensive operations against Russia.
I thought it was Cybercom.
Or Cybercom, sorry, excuse me.
I believe, right?
I mean, it could be. I mean, I read it just briefly before it came on screen. For some reason, I thought that it was any defensive planning physically and via cyber operations.
America stands with Russia. I love it.
Okay, it is Cybercom.
Gene Hackman tested negative for carbon monoxide.
Oh yeah,
dude, he died of old age. Like, do you see how he was looking? 95
how
years
did his
old?
wife die?
And
Or what
his
about the
dog.
dog, John?
Well,
His
his dog
dog.
was in the cage, so his dog probably died.
Like starved to death or something.
They
She
died
died
on
of a broken heart.
his last pacemaker recording was February 17th.
Yeah. So
Really?
that's 2 weeks or so. They said they were dead.
So
close to 2 weeks.
she died.
Jeez.
He died.
They
The
said
dog
her-
died in the cage. But how did the wife die?
They
Broken
said
heart.
her hands and feet had mummified. Did you read that? That
Well,
was really-
yeah,
Well,
but that's
They said that there was a space heater in the bathroom too.
Okay, so
and-
that's why. Yeah,
Well,
it's probably very dry in there.
yeah. They haven't said that it was on, but if it was, then that would make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
cold would do that.
Jeez.
Have you guys seen all the EU reaction to Zelensky?
Yes.
No, but wasn't he like going through on Twitter like
Thank you
every
for your
single
support.
post? Thank you for your support.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every single I wrote an article for Gateway and went through and looked up every one that he retweeted, and it's the president or prime minister of almost every single EU country except, of course, Orban, Fico, and there was another one that Maloney.
I was going through and responding to all of them saying America stands with Russia on every single one. When they say we stand with Ukraine, America stands with Russia, America stands with Russia. That's the new tagline, by the way. And I mean this in the most respectful way possible, but Scott Bissett has kind of like a little like Hank Hill vibe about him. with a little bit of tism. With a little bit of tism. He's got a little bit of like the way he was standing, and that makes me like him a lot. That makes me trust him.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's a gay
I like
Hank
it.
Hill.
Touched
like
by
it.
autism, like all
Yeah.
of us.
Gay Hank Hill.
That's
Not
funny. I did
gay,
see a
not
tweet
gay, just a little bit of
somewhere
a
earlier
tism,
today.
but You want that in your Treasury Secretary there because you need a numbers guide, and you know that the TISM people are very good with numbers.
I saw a
My
tweet
boy-
earlier today about it was Putin has offered his hand to negotiate peace between Trump and Zelensky. I thought it was freaking hilarious.
Love it. Love it.
All of the European Council, by the way, like 5 of them tweeted the same exact thing, like word for
course they
word, word for word.
They'd probably just copied and pasted it from the European Union mass email they got.
Yeah.
Dude, so I really think this is like after the Macron visit, John Bolton was on with Caitlin Collins saying that the United States is closer to alliance with Russia than they've ever been, and we're on our way out with NATO. It's not that one. That's Nicole Wallace. By the way, she had Vindman, Brennan, and Applebaum on this afternoon. That's the one. Yeah.
Is the aggressor. He also said, though, next to him, that made a point of saying Russia is the aggressor. What did you make of that exchange?
Well, I think it's Macron trying to maintain his own position without pushing Trump over the edge and losing any chance of bringing Trump back to reality. I don't think that Macron will succeed. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, is coming this week as well. I don't think he'll succeed. I think we are now close to as close to Russia as an ally we've ever been in a hostile environment. It's a huge embarrassment. But I think most significant of all is that vote in the UN today was a clear marker. We are on the path out of NATO. Trump has already done enormous damage to the NATO alliance. Almost every time he talks about Ukraine, he does more. But that vote, with all of our allies on one side supporting Ukraine and condemning Russia's unprovoked aggression against Ukraine, with us on the side of Russia and North Korea and countries like that, that shows the NATO alliance is badly split already. And it's at this point, you take too many more steps like that, the actual withdrawal is just a formality.
Crazy. Why does anybody care about John Bolton? What's his background?
And
has he ever fought?
Doesn't Q says some interesting things about Bolton, doesn't he?
Government coup planner. That's his background.
Yeah.
That's it in a
Was he
nutshell.
military background at all?
No, he's a bureaucracy background.
Intelligence, okay.
But straight lifetime neocon.
Nice.
Full on warmonger. Yep.
Yeah.
So I really think that there is significant push to some sort of restructuring as whatever her name is, Katie Tur, was suggesting their latitudinal restructuring, and that's exactly the way it should be. China should have control over the Asia sector, not control, but
regions of responsibility.
Yeah, regions of responsibility, sovereign alliance. This is Gordon. I think it was like 2 weeks ago where we were talking about like it's going to be revealed to the public that this is actually a thing. She mentions MBS. She mentions in the clip I showed you earlier, MBS, Putin, Trump in the West, and G. Like everybody that we've been saying, is there anybody that we're missing? I mean, maybe the Burkina Faso guy.
Yeah, I mean, Ibrahim Traore when he finally comes full circle and becomes a MSM figure. I don't think the MSM even knows who that guy is, but he is definitely the George Washington of Africa for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Nigel Farage needs to come back into power in Britain. I think we're kind of waiting on that. We're waiting for France to do something, get rid of Macron. But yeah, I mean, the reason that MBS I think is a big deal is because not only it's the best demonstration of the world actually changing, because you've gotten rid of the radical Wahhabism. Saudi Arabia is suddenly a very attractive place to invest money. They very, very forward thinking, a transformational phase in their history. And it also kind of subverts the whole Russia and China are these superpowers we have to go to war with, right? So rather than having to make direct alliances with or direct reconciliation with Russia and China, you use Saudi Arabia as like the conduit, like the bridge to get there, right?
Hell yeah. You want to play the clip of the foreign policy dude calling Trump a reality TV president?
Yeah,
but in a good way. In a good way. All right, this one's a little bit longer.
Chief of Foreign Policy, Ravi Agrawal. Ravi, yesterday you and I were talking about the meeting between Keir Starmer and President Trump, and you said don't pay too much attention to the theatrics. I got to ask you about that today because we got a theatrical moment in the White House.
We did indeed. Now, in as much as we are paying attention to the theatrics, this is a reality TV presidency after all. I think it's worth contrasting Starmer's performance in this very same setting versus Zelenskyy. Starmer knew exactly what to do. He had the right script. He walked in with a letter from King Charles inviting Trump for a second state visit. That is exactly what Trump wanted to hear. There was pomp and circumstance involved, flattery, bribery of sorts. All of that is exactly the point of these meetings and the reason why they're televised in the way that they are, often not once, but twice with a lunch in between. And I think with Zelenskyy today, he ended up becoming a bit standoffish. I mean, we can criticize Trump and Vance all we want, but if you look at it from the perspective of this was the point was the TV. The point was for Trump to appear almost like a monarch. The moment where that meeting sort of went south, as it were, is when Zelenskyy dared to break with that script, when he appeared defiant, when he said, why don't you come to Ukraine and see it for yourself? That wasn't the point of this meeting.
What's going to happen after this? Because you had Zelenskyy making that call with Macron, with Mark Rutte of NATO. Do you see there being a more definitive break between the EU and the UK and the United States? Do they start trying to go this alone? Can they go this alone?
Can they is a very tough question, and the answer is no, not immediately. Will they is a very different one. I think this is where, your first question to me about not paying too much attention to TV, or at least the reality TV of these dramatic moments, that this is a good time to come back to that. All of this could be forgiven and forgotten. You never know. I mean, in sort of the dramatic kind of TV world of Trump, we are just meant to be paying attention to all of this. And so there could be twists and turns to come. I think, Zelenskyy acknowledges now that he misstepped really in the performance of what was expected here. And you can see that already from his tweet afterwards, in which he thanked Trump and Vance. He thanked the American people. He's already trying to be conciliatory, or is being advised to be conciliatory. So what comes next now is probably real diplomacy. I think the lesson is that diplomacy wasn't meant to be conducted in front of billions of eyes with TV cameras in the room. We're meant to report on it as journalists. We're meant to talk about it on TV afterwards, but it's not meant to be seen by the world in the way that we just saw.
It's usually not. Usually a president has the foreign leader next to them. They take maybe one question that is screamed out from the press. It's a shaking hands, a hello to the cameras, here we are, and the press leaves. But Donald Trump has changed that. He holds court. He wants these events to be made for TV. He wants to be answering questions from the press. He extends them out. It's just not like
Please stop
anything
watching
any
MSNBC.
other president had done in the past. This is what Donald Trump was doing.
I mean,
Jesus.
these gentrified folks, man. I mean, God, it's like, well,
Can
Well,
we
they
talk
say
about-
everything that we say with a different spin. They try and turn everything into a negative, and we turn it into a positive.
we know that.
She's
Like-
basically just describing she's describing the most transparent president ever, and wasn't that always like the thing, right? Like they make that sound like it's a negative thing. It's amazing.
We're working our ass off to break people away from the mainstream media by watching more mainstream media.
We're making fun of them. That is okay. Stop it.
Okay, let's
Stop
talk about the
winning
real
them.
important stuff, and that it is apparently true that Elon had another kid. And this
Wait,
might
recently?
Siobhan Zills, this is who he has a couple kids with already. This was today discussed with Elon, and in light of beautiful Arcadia's birthday, we felt it was better to also just share directly about our wonderful and incredible son, Selden Lycurgus, built like a juggernaut with a heart of gold. Love him so much. Elon posted a heart underneath. This might explain Ashley St. Clair freak out because she found out he's having another kid or something.
Interesting.
So, but I mean, was this one not recognized before? Because I believe there was at least 2 children that we were aware of having been born, but their identities had not been released yet.
Okay, so they already have Strider and Azure twins, and then they talked about the birthday of Arcadia, and then Selden. So that's 4 now with this one.
Is this another set of twins, or is this?
Dude,
nope.
Is this chick Greece? I mean, is this chick Greek?
Greece.
She is Greece.
Greece.
Artificial
No,
intelligence.
she must
Canadian.
be Greek, man. I mean, Arcadia is a place in Greece, and then Lycurgus is like the guy who like created the law, like the codified law in ancient Sparta. So
What about
something
Selden Lycurgus?
Well, Lycurgus is the guy. I don't know what Selden is, but Lycurgus is the guy who made Spartan law.
Okay.
No.
Well, she's Canadian.
Elon has 14 kids. That's insane.
I need to see proof of life from Ashley St. Clair. I mean, how do we know she didn't just make up that whole thing and that's why he's ignoring her? I mean,
Well, she sued him. So we'll probably get some evidence in that court case at some point.
If they can force a DNA test. But I mean, let's just posit that maybe she just picked up a baby somewhere, or she has somebody else's baby and it's actually in her possession. You know, if Elon doesn't want anything to do with her, or doesn't believe that he is the father, then, you know, he would theoretically have enough money to fight to make sure that they could never get a DNA test to prove it was him or not. But I mean, if those text messages are to be believed, then it sure looks like he has already tacitly at best admitted. And then there's that picture of him with a baby.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So,
strange op for sure.
I mean, you know, at this point, with every piece of evidence that we have that she totally baby trapped him, I would probably ghost the chick too, dude. You know, even like I would just like, you know, I'm not even going to talk to you. Like,
I would fight her for I would fight her for custody and not having to pay her a cent ever after that.
I think he's just spreading his seed. He thinks he has superior genealogy and he's just spreading it everywhere he can.
I mean, his dad did pretty much the same thing, didn't he?
Yeah. He's worth $400 billion. He can take care of kids.
Wait,
you know, here's 10 million for you.
Does his dad also have a gaggle of children?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Is that I'm pretty sure his dad like has a lot of kids. Yeah, Elon's dad has a bunch of kids.
Yeah, Elon's version of "fuck you" money is a little more literal than anybody else's.
Yeah, his narrative seeding is a different kind of.
Keep them coming.
Ryan, your turn.
I got nothing.
I can't say it.
Yes, you can.
You absolutely can
It's
say it.
12:01 a.m. It's 12:01. It is after midnight on the East Coast. You can say it.
It's not. My mom's probably watching, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Hey,
It's
Mom.
nothing your mom's never said.
Is she coming to Vegas?
No, unfortunately, no. My dad doesn't really like going anywhere right now, so they're gonna stay home. But I was trying to get them out there, but damn it.
You know, Ash's parents are coming, and
That's what I
she's
hear,
not on the
yeah.
stream right now, so we should game plan like how we're gonna mess with her and them, like somehow. I think that'd be fun.
Is your mom coming this time, John?
Not to this one.
Okay, my mom will be there.
I know.
Yeah,
she's coming.
Excited to be.
You invited her to the wedding? That's pretty cool. You. Zach.
Yeah, I know it was a tough call, but I decided in the end it was probably the right thing to do.
Well, now I just feel awkward because I made a narrative seating joke in front of all your moms. So
That's fine. I've done some pretty embarrassing stuff in front of everybody's moms before too.
Like what?
Oh, I mean, I think that there was one time where I just said something really profane, and Jay Triet was like, "Oh my God, my mom's listening. She's not gonna think. She's not gonna look at you the same anymore."
Oh,
after
that's
this."
right. I remember that
Yeah.
because Zach's like her favorite. She freaking loves Zach. So,
and I love you too.
Yes, yes. See, Mom, Zach
I
still
think I have
loves
that
you.
clip of you.
No.
Here.
His potty mouth tendencies.
Snack on my balls.
there you go, Jay Triz.
That was Chandler, yeah.
Yeah, that was Chandler. I think that's great.
Was that our first one?
Yeah,
No.
because that's the only one we had really comfortable chairs at.
Oh, sorry.
Shot across the bow.
Downhill since then.
Shot across the bow.
Hey man, we got to watch that budget, CanCon.
My bad.
Yeah, make sure you give CanCon the least comfortable chair this time.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn his stool upside down. He can sit on that through the conference.
Sit on this and twirl.
Speaking of Elon and having a lot of kids, I just remembered this one time when we were having dinner and my girlfriend was sitting there and my mom was talking about somebody who had like a lot of kids. And my girlfriend goes, geez, you just want to tell them to pull out. And my mom's like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Like, if you know my mom, that's like pulling out. Like, you know, like the fact that she even knew what that term meant, like kind of
Why do people think that their parents like never talk like this?
Because my mom almost became
It's a saint.
nun,
Everybody
Brian.
thinks their
She
mom is a
became-
saint.
My mom was literally going to become a nun, quit her job, went to Europe, spent all her money, and when she came back, she went to the convent to sign up, and they told her it was like a year waiting list because this is back in the 50s, right, or 60s, and so she ended up getting a job and working for my dad, and that's how they met. They ended up getting married the same day she was supposed to go into the convent, but she's still that same almost nun in my mind.
Yes.
So
They
Like
only
us.
had sex to procreate.
so when my girlfriend says,
Only
hey, maybe you
missionary.
should pull out, I was like, oh God.
Brian.
Well, now we have an opener
though.
though. Like when we meet her, like, oh, JJ's mom. So how about
Apparently
pulling
his dad
out?
didn't pull out. Yeah.
Silver lining, at least you.
Yeah,
wait-
if my
at
dad's
least
there, you can say
made
that
it
to
this
him.
far in life without hearing her say that. So that's a silver lining.
The better
that's
part
true.
of you ended up as a brown stain on the mattress.
Oh God. Oh.
You know, I mean,
Gross,
let's just
Brian.
move on from that comment. But, I mean, it's actually an incredibly romantic story, Jay. I mean, like that's the
is.
kind of thing that you could put into a script, and you have this like long, drawn out romantic comedy where like, will they, won't they, will they, won't they, and then she's
Right.
on her way to the convent. She throws on her flying nun hat, and then
Yep.
your dad just grabs her and kisses her, and I've always loved you, and then they go get married.
That's
And then
pretty
you're the
much what
epilogue.
happened, man. And that's it. And then I pop out.
That's cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet story.
Immaculate conception.
I tried watching Inception the other day. Is that what you said, Brian?
Immaculate
Oh.
conception.
I thought you said
you were
Inception,
Catholic,
and then
bro.
Totally different
No, but
concept.
Sure.
Segue and then Inception.
Switching
that's fine.
gears.
Fine.
Yeah, Inception's good.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
it's a great movie.
Inception's
Talk
great.
about that instead of my mother.
Wait, you
being
didn't
pulling
like it,
out.
John? Is that what you're
No,
gonna say?
No, I've seen it a million times. I tried watching it again the other day, and I couldn't get into it. I was like, this is kind of boring right now. And I thought it was weird. I've never had that.
Well,
But
real
it's
real
just
life
totally
is,
off the walls, so we don't have to talk about this because I thought Brian said something he didn't actually say. So
real life is way more exciting than Inception right now. And in a manner of speaking, it's also like, dramatically parallels what you see in that crazy dream world.
yeah, kind of true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not like. We don't have talk Inception.
So we're watching this. My wife and I are watching this show called Paradise. Are any of you guys
Oh,
watching that?
man, Lisa and I are like 3 episodes in, and she like has this.
It's so good.
Don't spoil it because she
I'm
has
not-
not allowed me to keep going with the episodes.
It's
What's it
so
on?
good. It's on Hulu. And it's about like a bunker in Colorado, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. There's conspiracies in it.
You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't
That's
have
it.
said
No,
that.
that's
Yeah.
all I can say. It's in the first episode.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, there's still a good 60 minutes where you're like, "What the hell's going on?"
Well, now I'm not gonna watch.
That's
it.
all
Now,
I'm saying. That's all I'm
spoiler.
saying. Oh, dude, that's not even half of it, bro. Like the nuclear football part blew my mind.
Dude, okay, stop talking. If
Yeah.
it's that good, you can't.
Oh, you
ruin it.
just said you're not going to watch it, so
Well,
I
I
can
was
talk about it.
joking.
I
didn't
also
really
haven't
make
gotten
all
to that point yet, Brian. So thanks.
But you don't know what point it's going to come at, so don't worry about it. Don't worry.
I will
about it.
I will say, Brian, the scene you're talking about, I did think of General Cross when I watched.
Oh,
when I was watching.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. Thought of that.
Well, I can't wait now.
Such a good show.
How many episodes is it?
It's week by week, which I fucking hate.
Yeah, it's
Hulu
like a regular
too, by
series,
the
so
way.
you don't-
But
Hulu sucks because I have the free version, so it's like a commercial like every 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. But it's a really good show, man. I highly recommend it.
how much is it for the upgrade?
It's like 10 or 15 bucks a month, and you still have to watch commercials.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do. I have the
No, you
paid
don't.
version, and there is still commercials every now and then on Hulu.
Is it the
Maybe like
beginning of
when
the
you
episode?
start
Maybe.
it?
What's
don't
that?
What?
You said something. Brian said something. I didn't hear either of them.
I think it's like maybe when you started. I think we both said the same thing.
No, there have definitely been commercials like midway through. I mean, not oftentimes there'll be like, one commercial at the beginning, one commercial at the end, but every now and then I get commercials in the middle. And even like with Amazon Prime, you pay for that and you still have to watch commercials unless you want to pay for like the $200 version of it or whatever.
It's crazy.
$200 for
I don't know what it is really. I mean, I don't have it. So I read that they were taking away that aspect of it, which was like the whole reason that I think people probably signed up.
That should be a crime where if you force people to pay to get rid of commercials, you shouldn't be allowed to put any commercials.
Well, terms of service, John, they can change at any time. Yep.
Whatever.
You mean that whole legal document
guys,
agreement that
rugs,
nobody ever reads?
Rugs all the way down, including the premium streaming services. You're getting commercials.
That's like that should be the theme of the 21st century. The century of the rug.
The terms of
over and
service.
over again.
Make sure you read the terms of service or you end up like Joan is Awful.
What's that?
Don't know that one.
You guys have never seen Joan is Awful?
Oh wait, that's
but I have
Black
seen the South
Mirror. Black Mirror, right?
Mirror.
I have seen the South Park episode where they make fun of like they do that. That was probably way before Black Mirror.
Just watch it. So
explain
Black Mirror, you don't have to watch the whole episode. You don't have to watch the whole series. It's each episode is a different story with different characters and everything. So go back and watch in the last season. It's called Joan is Awful. I think it was the first episode, and it's all about artificial intelligence and I mean that's pretty much every Black Mirror shows art AI in some way.
They're all worth watching. I mean,
no,
I love Black
is
Mirror.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
I actually I've watched a couple episodes, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
Yeah, me too.
What's your favorite one?
The first one kind of was like hard to stomach, and I don't know if I went back.
I don't know that I can pick a favorite one. I mean, the one with Toby Kebbell where they where like the police are like asking to review his recordings of everything, and then he like gets the thing with his wife, all of that stuff. I thought that was really hard hitting because it was extremely believable. And the one with John Hamm where when you wanted to block people in the real world because of the implants you had, you could just literally block somebody, and then like say your wife wants to divorce you, you guys break up, she blocks you, and then you can't see her or hear her any longer. You just see this like static person in front of you. It's like when you're scrolling on Twitter and it says this post limits the number of people who can see it, and it's because you're blocked or something like that. And anyways, that was a good one. The one, and what was that, the same one where he was
They put the implants in their head.
Yeah.
To like create alternate versions of themselves that they can put in like virtual reality. That's the one. Yeah, I've seen that one.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that those were 2 different episodes, but they were like connected by John Hamm being in there.
No, I think they were it was one episode, but the guy was telling multiple stories,
That's
and
it.
the
That's
stories
why.
were connected.
Yes,
and he was
that's
like,
why.
at the end of it, he was like,
yeah,
just getting him to admit that he did something.
That was the Christmas episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, White Christmas.
I like the robot dogs where everybody was filming them and they had no idea what the hell they were doing. They just kept running and people were just chasing them and filming them, and then they find out what they did at the end. Black Mirrors was, I mean, just an absolute masterpiece. In term, like every single episode. I think there's 1 or 2 episodes where I was like, that was so lame, but every other one, it's like really thought-provoking shit.
Yeah.
Hey, John, share my screen. Trump just posted something.
Oh boy.
You have to say please.
Please.
Jeez. Please and thank you.
Please,
what we do in this country now.
Please, for the American people.
Yeah.
He's pardoning Pete Rose.
No way.
Nice.
Whoa.
Nice.
Wow.
It says Major League Baseball didn't have the courage or decency to put the late great Pete Rose, also known as Charlie Hustle, into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now he is dead. Will never experience the thrill of being selected, even though he was a far better player than most of those who made it and can only be named posthumously. What a shame. Anyway, over the next few weeks, I will be signing a complete pardon of Pete Rose, who shouldn't have been gambling on baseball, but only bet on his team winning. He never betted against himself or the other team. He had the most hits by far in baseball history and won more games than anyone in sports history. Baseball, which is dying all over the place, should get off its fat, lazy ass and elect Pete Rose, even though far too late into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I love it.
That's epic.
I love Trump
so
so
great.
much.
You should be allowed to
God.
bet on yourself if
Hell yes.
you're only betting to like win. Like that should be legal.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now every single sports league, of course, is like has partnerships with casinos,
Right.
and are promoting gambling like more than you could have possibly ever imagined. So
Like, where's the downside in a player betting on himself to win? If that's all they can do, if that's legal, and every player would do it,
Yeah.
where's the downside?
Yeah,
There isn't. I mean, I actually didn't realize that Pete only bet on himself to win, basically. I mean, the way that it sounded, it was like this big gambling controversy, and Pete Rose was like rigging games or something like that. But yeah, that's crazy. So, you know, you're a sitting U.S. congressman and you can get classified intel, bet on that and make millions of dollars, but you can't bet that you're a good player and that you want to profit from it. Okay.
That's a great take. Almost like something might come out on that here pretty soon.
Mm.
And I think Pete Rose only bet as a manager too. I don't think he ever bet as a player.
Yeah. So he's betting on his own players, basically.
Right. He's betting on his team and his managerial experience and, you know, whatever. Yeah.
And he should still be in the Hall of Fame for his playing,
100%.
regardless of the betting stuff he did as a manager.
100%. Hardest thing to do in all of sports is hit a baseball, and he did it better than anybody.
And play the game the right way too. You know, it's a lot of the modern players, you know, kind of loaf it out there and stuff. This guy was, you know, 100% all the time. One of the greatest players I ever got to witness live. So I'm old. I got to see him play.
I was just gonna say it.
Don't date yourself here, J-Trit.
I remember when he was a rookie. No, I wasn't alive when he was a rookie, but I did get to see him play. The Big Red Machine in the 70s was, I absolutely hated them. They were in the same division as the Dodgers back then, and they didn't have divisions really. I think there were 2 divisions in the National League, and they were real big, long ones, you know, and the Dodgers were so damn good. They had Steve Garvey and Ron Cey, Davey Lopes, all that whole team, and the Big Red Machine was just a little bit better than them, and they won a whole bunch of World Series 75, 76, I think. And then the Dodgers went to a couple World Series after that, but lost to the Yankees. So that was kind of heartbreaking as a kid, being a Dodger fan, never seeing them get over the top. So I just absolutely hated the Reds, but always respected the hell out of Pete Rose.
Yeah, that's crazy. We're almost to March Madness.
Yeah.
We'll do
That's
a
the
bracket
only
again.
time I start like watching college basketball. I don't watch any of it until the
Same
tournament.
here. I haven't followed a single thing.
No
Except
clue.
for the only thing I know of is Duke has a one tall white guy who's really good. Like it's newsworthy because it's a white guy that's like the best player in college right now.
Well, Duke always has like a tall white guy. Like,
Well, this yeah, that's a good point.
you know what I
He's
mean?
a
Like that's kind
freshman.
of one of those. They're like the Boston Celtics of college basketball. They've always had
That's a
like
good point.
white dudes.
But he's going to be like
Christian
the
Laettner and, you
number
know.
one draft pick. I'm pretty sure.
Oh
He's
yeah,
freshman.
yeah, I saw that guy. Yeah.
Don't remember his name though, so I'll shut up about it. I can't think of it. Whatever. But now I want to get a Hulu account.
It's too bad. It's too bad March Madness isn't starting while we're in Vegas because it's really fun. We used to go to Vegas every year. A group of guys would go for that first round of the tournament. So there's just 1,000 games going at the same time at the sports book. People are going nuts. You know, it's really fun.
We can still bet on it though, right? Can't we go like place a bet on who we think is going to win?
Well, they don't know who's in the tournament yet.
But still, you can still like go bet. I'm sure.
Yeah. You can go bet on. You can go bet on schools. I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's like there are going to be schools that are going to be in it.
If they already know they're in it, maybe you can. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like the top 25 ranked schools.
Right. Think of the NFL before the season. You don't know that your team's going to make it, but you can go still place a bet on somebody winning the Super Bowl. There's
But
still
that's because
odds.
every team is eligible for the Super Bowl.
dude,
but only six.
But not everybody makes the playoffs.
Imagine making a $50 bet on the Redskins making it to the NFC Championship game, like a year ago. You probably
you're doing fine.
are paying your mortgage for the year now.
What do you got there, Zach? That's your Donald Trump.
This is my Donald Trump cup. Somebody in the audience was asking me to show it off.
Oh, nice.
It's got Donald Trump's signature and it says the heartbeat of America, make America great again. And it's not a Stanley Cup, it's a Pelican Cup. And I don't know really what the difference is between the two besides their different branding. They appear to be roughly similar to each other, but it's a great cup. Love it.
It's nice looking.
Stanley Cups are actually kind of nice.
I mean, they're both insulated. How different can they be?
If you're a hockey player, they're really nice.
Wasting it. That was sent to me by a viewer, and it was pretty sweet.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
We got quite a few rants. You think we should start poking away at them?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's poke them.
Let's poke them a little bit.
Poke
By
'em
the way,
out.
guys,
Pull 'em out.
Actually, you know what? I'll wait. What'd you send in the chat here, Ghost? Or you already pulled it up?
It's just the not Jerome Powell Twitter profile did the bit where he says every 1,000 likes I'll make Zelenskyy smaller.
Oh,
and there's some pretty funny memes in there, like the one of Wolf of Wall Street of them throwing the midget with Zelensky's head on it, and
that's good.
Pretty good laughs scrolling through there.
I'll pull that up quick because I actually I did add a meme to this. Let's see if it's in here.
It's a good bit.
Yeah, I do like that bit. So every 1,000 likes, I'll make it smaller. Get smaller.
I mean, that one where Trump's like looking down,
Just hiding behind the chair.
That's brilliant.
Keep going. Yeah, that one. This one.
Oh, that's good. Oh my gosh.
Dude, Memetics is undefeated.
Oh,
has begun.
Yeah.
So this one I did.
Oh god.
Anyway, all right.
Oh.
Most famous meme of all time: Epstein did not kill himself.
Yep.
Yes, 100%.
Micro Toolmaker coming in clutch as always. $117. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you, sir.
Love you, MTM.
Awesome. And we also got another 100 from Reberhart. Reberhart 29.
29.
Love Badlands Media. I don't think I've seen that username before.
Love you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, love
Very
to you.
generous.
Appreciate it.
Melindy suggesting the Counter the Meltdown segment, something encouraging from the grassroots. I felt like this is a pretty encouraging episode. We talked about J-Trit's mom and pulling out and stuff.
Don't get more positive than that.
Do not underestimate me. 2025 is now a monthly supporter. Thank
Welcome.
you. I think I saw a couple gifted subscriptions come through as well, so appreciate those. Cranop 59 via Claire Cat, Ghost Hair LMAO. Too good.
Too
I
good.
think Claire Cat said there should be a drink called Ghost Hair.
Maybe in Vegas we will have to come up with that. We'll have to find a talented bartender to make something. Mount Gay and Tonic. And Mount Gay and Tonic, don't sleep on a Mount Gay and Tonic. It's not quite summertime, but that's a great drink.
Chris,
And your hair looks Mount Gay, so
there you go. Good one.
All
Well
right.
played.
I'm just gonna leave him on the screen for a little bit until he feels awkward.
All right. Accomplished, but continue.
No, he's got a freshly trimmed hair. He's not gonna feel self-conscious,
confident.
but yeah.
Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
You have a good singing voice, Brian. will say.
I do. I've been called the songbird of my generation.
I agree with that. I agree.
You definitely are.
Susie Q20 says, and where the hell is Kash Patel? I have not seen him since confirmation. He doesn't call me anymore, so I don't know either.
He's too busy running shit.
You know what I was thinking?
House.
You know what we haven't really seen a massive call for that is something that the FBI could hand over like almost instantaneously? The Seth laptop.
Yeah, I saw a couple of posts about that.
I haven't seen much. Let's get that trending on X, guys. Seth Rich laptop.
Yeah.
I mean, the irony is that there's already been a court decision that it's supposed to have been turned over by now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Valseco 16, Zach. Do you hear how I pronounce that? Valseco.
Valseco, like Jose Canseco.
Very good.
Yes.
That's very exotic. I like that.
Isn't he
Ghost
also
hair.
Hall of Fame?
A level 6, maybe level 8 by the time you read this. Still not out of eggnog, I guess. LOL. All good. I'm a level 7.
Love it. Love it. Well, cheers. Hey, cheers.
Cheers.
Canseco's not getting to the Hall of Fame.
Are you still drinking eggnog, Ghost?
That would be
buy like a pallet?
That would be laugh out loud funny if I was drinking eggnog on March 1st. It's March 1st right now on the East Coast, by the way.
Just bought like a case of it at Christmas and
just making green beer this month.
It's gonna get hot soon in Florida.
Oh, just can't drink any eggs in March, man.
It's been hot here. It's
One
been
more
like 50
cold
degrees.
front, God. One more cold front, please, God.
yeah, Shamrock Shakes are coming out pretty soon, right? Getting those at McDonald's.
Jet skis are coming out soon, baby. Time to de-winterize.
I get a Shamrock Shake every year, and I take like 3 sips of it. I'm like, yep, just as awful as last year. Just talk.
Do the same with the McRib.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Don't hate on the McRib now.
Oh, have you ever looked at a McRib? Like really fold it apart?
No. I
Just the
deliberately
barbecue
don't.
version of the McFillet or whatever. The fillet they make the fish thing.
Filet of fish.
Yeah, except that has real fish in it, and a McRib is basically just like leftover pieces of organ meat and vascular.
Well, why do you think
arteries and
that's real fish?
Well, because I've actually like looked at a fillet of fish before. It's actually a fillet of fish.
Well, their chicken nuggets look like chicken.
Well, no,
nuggets,
the chicken, that's the same thing as the McRib. It's extruded like leftover parts mixed with like cornstarch and soybean oil.
I feel like I don't know for sure. I've done zero research into this, but I feel like I should be willing to bet on whether or not the fish in McDonald's filet of fish is a real fish or not.
I'm almost okay.
It's
It's been a long time since I've been to McDonald's. I will concede that it is possible by now that you've gone to McDonald's more recently than me, and that perhaps they're not using real fish like they used to. But in I don't know. This was a long time ago. But the last time I went to McDonald's, it was a real piece of fish.
We're gonna need some research.
This is
on
quite. This is quite a deep.
That must have been like the
Maha
1950s,
conversation.
maybe. I don't know.
We'll settle this at Gart. Okay.
It contains
It says it's made
100%
from real
wild,
fish.
Made from
100% wild caught
Yeah.
Alaska pollock.
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 It just says it's made from.
It's Alaskan, not Polish.
I don't trust it. Anyway, we'll keep going here.
How can it
Snackaroos.
be sourced from sustainable fisheries if it's wild caught? Okay, no, anyways, sorry.
Snackaroos. Trump doesn't pick fools.
Doesn't suffer fools either.
Well, I think he does pick fools sometimes, but
On
for the right
purpose.
reasons.
Yeah.
But then he makes
Scaramucci.
Yeah.
Power Cell 99. Don't get why you're spending time hating on the influencers getting the binders. Kanka would have 100% been there if he got the call. It's not about who got binders. It's about who prepared binders. SDNY. And actually, no, they did not prepare those binders. That was Pam Bondi's office. Number two, I think any of us would have accepted an invite to the White House for sure, but I would not have accepted a binder of information that was the information in there was promised to be public and it not being put public at the same time. Like that, I don't think anybody in here, well, I don't want to speak for you guys, but like getting information that we would be the filter and gatekeepers for everybody else, that's bullshit.
Yeah. I would have taken a picture of every single page and immediately posted it and been like, this is here, everyone dig in. Anons are infinitely more equipped to pick apart that stuff than anybody who is going to be at the White House. No offense.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it was a marketing decision that was made by the administration. You know, they thought for whatever reason that these people with this massive following, each of them with massive followings, it would get out there. Certainly there was going to be media attention and scrutiny. It was a bit of a message to the mainstream media that they're completely out of the loop now. I think that there is power in that. But, you know, I think ultimately it was kind of it was an opportunity to set a trap. That's really the thing that makes the most sense to me, because I find it difficult to believe that not a single one of those people had ever looked at Epstein materials before, because you know that those people were looking at that binder while they're sitting around the table. I mean, is it that they're just so sycophantic that they were just like, oh, yeah, this is great. You know, wow, disclosure. Nobody said, like, hold on a second. Like, we've seen this without all the black bars. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Since I was named in it, I would have taken the binder, taken it back home. No publicity whatsoever. I would have read through it. I'd have been like, okay, this is fake and gay. We already know all this. Whatever, throw it away. But if I wouldn't be walking out there like smiling and holding it up and like waving it in front of the cameras and all that bullshit, I would have went home and done journalist shit. You know, found anything that I thought was worth writing about, put it all online in some sort of, you know, Google Drive or something. Yeah, I'm with you.
Breaking news: Brian Lupo is
100% would have gone.
Gatekeeper in training.
Yep.
No, I'm not a gatekeeper in training. I mean, I gotta live. I wouldn't have done what they did. It would have made its way online 1,000%. But I would have looked it over and been like, okay, this is all fucking shit that's already been out there for 8 years.
You would have accepted an embargo on information that was
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
That's
not.
what they did.
Well, I would have accepted an embargo if it wasn't known that I had it. Once it's known that I have it, like if they walk me out of the Oval Office into a press pool, the deal's off. Because now you're calling into, like, you're putting a target on me now that I have this information. If you want to give me something and say, hey, read over this and see if there's anything worth writing about, I'll do that all day. I do that all the time.
But I'm saying an embargo on information, like, to me, it's an integrity thing in terms of, like, this information was promised to be put public. You're asking somebody else to take the information, not say that I got it. You're not putting it publicly at the same time for everybody. And you're essentially kind of putting a filter on it. Like, that's what I'm against. Whether people know I have it or not doesn't change that fact. It's still information that was promised public to be put public, and they're not doing what they said they were going to do in the way they said they were going to do it.
Well, they were just going to put shit out on Twitter and just do their little clickbait, you know, here, look what I found. This is breaking news with 5 sirens.
Well, you know, think about it this way, guys. So nothing in that report was really for us because we've already seen it. Okay. We've already been talking about it. We've already known about Jeffrey Epstein for a long time. There's a lot of people out there, maybe even people who follow DC Drano and, you know, all of these other influencers who likely knew about Jeffrey Epstein, but didn't really know that much about Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, so now they have a quick introduction to the subject just because all of them pumped all of this information that it was coming out. Then it comes out and it's a rug pull. And then all of those normies take a look and they say, whoa, what the hell's going on? And then at the same time, Pam Bondi puts out a letter to the FBI saying that, your people lied to me. We have a major problem. Also, we learn about the SDNY documents. Pam Bondi is upset. Look at this. We have a major problem. We have to solve it right now. And so all of those normies look at the situation and they say, oh, my God, wow, this is really, really bad. I thought that Donald Trump had solved the government problem, but it looks like it's far, far bigger than what anybody realized. Oh, my gosh. And now they're just catching up. And so information will come out. Hopefully in the future, they won't try to do it this way again and won't be necessary. But I think that we'll move towards disclosure and it'll be positive.
Think about the people who didn't get invited. Catherine Herridge, Chanel Ryan, Natalie Winters, Steve Bannon. It's like the people that you would have brought in who would have been able to, who have like a lot of credibility in terms of being like actual research, investigative journalists.
They would have called it out immediately.
Yeah, none of them were invited. So it's like, was it a real deployment? That's where I land.
It was a real op.
Real op, real
exposure. It was definitely an op.
Yeah, we got to move away from that, though. Centralized journalism of any kind. Let's
Agreed.
Decentralize it all. Melindy, Melindy, if only peeps would give attention to learning about the crooked election process and what to fix in that realm instead of this tabloid shit. Yeah.
It's coming. We can't fix the election system until the problem that was just illustrated in front of the entire American people is dealt with, first. Right. Because, otherwise you're just going to continue to have these elements that hold over inside the government that will do anything they can to stop us from being able to get election security.
Yeah. Terry A for $10. Poso is cringe and can often be full of himself. I can't square Bannon's bromance with him. What's with that duo? I can't square it either. No idea.
Yeah. Well, I would posit that both of them, Bannon and Trump, surround themselves with people who generate those questions, but Trump has a history of doing that. You look at the FBI op he ran with in Atlantic City. He surrounded himself with Ukrainian mafiosos and took them down. So
it could also be a transactional relationship. Plus, they're both Navy guys, aren't they?
Yes,
correct. Navy intel.
Navy purely speculation. Like if he's not a good dude, the reason that he'd keep around, Bannon would know. He has his reasons. Hard to know why. Ikem Navilas, Bongino keeps saying he'll be back when this operation is done. Exposure and dismantling to the ground. I hope so.
I think he means in 4 years.
Yeah.
I think he's going for the long haul.
Could be. Melindy, damn John, why is how long someone takes such an issue with you? LOL, LOL. Well, because on a show with multiple people, even just 2, especially 5, one person hijacking a show and filibustering is, in my opinion, a sin.
Mortal sin.
A mortal sin, yes.
Punishable by death.
Thank you for your question. PGW, take a look at the Ukrainian ambassador in the meeting today. Yeah, we saw that earlier. Thank you, PJ. Kevrensky, Patel is a crush on Anna Polina Luna. Well, there are over 175,000 Patels in this country, so you're going to have to be more specific. It ain't this one.
I bet you all of those Patels probably do have a thing for APL.
Not this one. She's become my least favorite person in Congress over her antics over the last 2-3 weeks.
I was making a Bob's and Vagine meme joke.
What was that, Brian?
Is there anybody in Congress that's better looking than her?
I don't care. I'm a personality guy, Brian. Not everything's about looks. Looks fade.
Gay.
Looks fade.
So gay.
You are just such a typical guy.
I am.
Care about.
That's been married for 16 years. Yeah. Gotta let my mind expand.
Brian, all you're doing is you're just setting yourself up for the honeypot that's coming.
Fact. Except my wife goes everywhere with me for that reason.
Mateo127, when a teenager disrespects his parents, makes bad decisions, and continues to do drugs, then tells his parents that he is the victim, that is what we witnessed today. Zelenskyy FAFO.
Yeah.
Cam Cooksky, 5 seconds. And then a video. This better be literally only 5 seconds, or I'm never going to trust you again. Oh, he didn't lie to me. Not a boy.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Is that who's that? Billy Billy?
Rick James.
Rick James. Rick James. There you go. There
Do
you
you
go.
remember when Putin called when Putin called Zelenskyy a cokehead and he said all the people running Ukraine are a bunch of drug addicts? that was back in like 2022.
Not surprised.
Kelly 8789. I have theorized that since they learned that having their asset Hitler as the aggressor with a cult of personality, that this time around they wanted someone who wasn't aggressor. That's Zelenskyy. Are you saying Zelenskyy? I guess I'm confused, but do you guys understand what they're saying?
I theorized that since they learned.
I think he's comparing the temperaments of Hitler and Zelenskyy. I mean, if you're going with the supposition that Hitler was an asset and that Zelenskyy is an asset, I mean, I guess you're saying that Hitler went beyond the boundaries of his directions and programming.
Isn't cult of personality though like somebody who just like gets a bunch of like you try to create a heroic image of the person?
Yeah, I mean that would be like Hitler or maybe Silvio Berlusconi or I mean I think any charismatic leader. Stalin certainly would be among that crew, but I don't necessarily think that. I think maybe among the global elite, Zelenskyy certainly has a certain cult of personality. But I don't know how I don't know how the Ukrainian people feel about him. I mean,
true, but the Western media, the people who've been encouraging people to send more, they've been the ones that have created him into this personality.
To her credit, though, like the poster's credit, like looking at it from an objective standpoint, what are the hell are these people thinking with like putting him in the tracksuit and making him like touch his nose 100 times and like, giving him a bunch of coke before he goes into that meeting and presenting him as a Khazarian mafioso.
Well, the tracksuit is because he's currently at war and he needs to be ready to run off to battle at any moment.
Well, that's true.
By the way, his voice is straight out of Central Casting. Oh, give us credit. Give us credit. I mean, it's amazing.
Did you guys see that Moulton guy, the guy from the Sovereign Alliance clip, the congressman? He called JD Vance a pogue today. And like most people don't know what that means. That's like a really bad insult in the military to call somebody a pogue.
Zelenskyy called JD a bitch too in Ukrainian. Yeah.
So
did he really?
Yeah,
I'm
dropped
pretty sure JD would whoop both Moulton and Zelensky's ass.
Keto Higgins says today's White House meeting was the ultimate Democratic trope resurrection. Vance likes sex with couches. JD was on a couch when effed Zelenskyy. Funny. Lynn 2022, America Us is back.
Oh, I think that it was a U.S. flag that was actually emoji. Yeah.
Well, that's not what it was in here, so I read it as presented. Keto Higgins, nice to know. As a culture, we have gone from Elon's plane tracking to Elon's penis tracker. Nice. Old School 69, why waste time now exposing conninks and grifters instead of choosing people who will actually carry out the mega agenda, since 4 years is not a lot of time to fix all our problems? I don't think it's ever a bad time to expose conning and people who are trying to hijack the movement and stop us from progress.
I would argue that that's the single greatest threat that might still rug pull us and stop us from reaching the golden age is the people inside of MAGA who are going to lead us back into the slaughterhouse.
People who are not advocating progress and keeping us in the same election system and all that shit.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Keto Higgins, all the money that Pete Rose made as a baseball player and his gambling, he could still never afford a decent haircut.
Dude, he owned that though.
Yeah.
That was his look.
It's a good bit.
Yeah.
Melindy, the suggestion was for the Daily Herald.
Spelt wrong.
Suggestion, you spelt it wrong, first of all. But I don't remember what suggestion.
Earlier, another rant.
Another rant that she did earlier.
Oh, about the length people talk?
No, I think it was before that.
Whatever. I'll back and look later. I'm Bob Buffio.
Babufio.
Babufio.
Bobo Ufo.
Okay. What about Wiener's laptop? I heard some pretty bad Hillary adrenochromas on it, or is that fake also? I have no idea.
That's in the Southern District of New York.
Sidney Powell just rehashed that, and that's again something that we will never ever see because it's not safe for public consumption.
And probably illegal to actually watch what's on.
100%.
Frazzle drip, yeah, and all the detectives who have allegedly looked at it have allegedly killed themselves.
Yeah.
Is it not enough that he was sexting a teenager with his like 3-year-old laying in bed sleeping on him while he's grabbing his dick?
Yeah.
Hold on. So what'd you say, Brian? We'll never see it because it's not safe for public consumption?
Yeah, like so this is the problem. We talked about this on Daily, and it's really a difficult thing to talk about because people will take it the wrong way. But you can't see what these people do. I don't want to see what these people do, but being able to see it is the only way that you can say, like, hey, this shit actually fucking happens.
I mean, it can be presented as evidence and viewed in a courtroom setting, and then the contents of it discussed. But to actually watch a video of Hillary Clinton allegedly cutting off a child's face and sexually molesting her, that's definitely not the kind of thing that we want to be shown on prime time. And
I would agree with that, but I still think it should be one of those things like where people should have access to see it. Like that's the choice to know will be yours. Like if you want to go see that stuff, truth and transparency, guys.
Yeah, the problem is then you continue to push out victims and exploit victims by allowing, because we might look at it for evidentiary value, but there's people that are going to look at that for gratification.
That I can understand. Like if you're protecting victims, yes. Like if there's still a reason to keep this stuff hidden, but I'm sick of like any of the excuses as people can handle it or whatever. Like I'm over that.
Wouldn't the excuse for that be that it's being used as evidence in an ongoing criminal case? Like, I mean, if that's really on that laptop, I would imagine somebody should be going to jail for that, right?
Yeah. And it depends what it is. If it's like child porn or whatever, obviously that can't be posted public. But anything that isn't child porn and isn't protecting the identity of a victim or whatever, no more secrets.
Yeah, but like 90% of what we're talking about is child porn.
Well, do we know that for sure?
I mean,
nobody's seen the laptop.
The term child is used loosely because
a lot of it is
right. These are people under 18.
Which is how do we know? None of us have seen the laptop. How do you guys know?
Well, okay. Well, I mean, we can infer because of the fact that Anthony Weiner was sexting a 15-year-old girl, sending explicit photographs back and forth. Very nature of that, it is child pornography. He had iMessage. It's going to be on his laptop, so we know that that's on there. Okay. In terms of the really damaging stuff that people are theorizing about right now, no, we don't know specifically what it is. It's only been hinted at, and all we know is what Eric Prince said, that these guys watched the laptop, they started throwing up, they couldn't sleep, and then eventually they all killed themselves. Allegedly.
Again, my point is like everybody talks about this stuff, but it's all speculation. That none of us actually know what's on any of this stuff because it's never been disclosed. Like this is my point. Nobody actually knows. We can infer things, we can speculate and whatever, but at the end of the day, that's all that is, and that's no good. In my I throw all that stuff out because you don't. It's just like the envelope stuff. Everybody's like, oh, we got proof of whatever was in the envelopes at the funerals.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Your theory about what it might be is just as good as any random theory. It could be a moon landing video for all we know.
Yeah, dude. I mean, dude, that's the thing that I think sometimes is lost on some people when we talk about like public officials and this kind of stuff. There's a guy that I know that was a prosecutor, and he told me a story. He told a story publicly that I was at an event with him, and the TLDR is that they arrested a guy who is the nephew of a judge. He had threatened. He was planning to blow up a courthouse because he hated his uncle, who was a judge.
Wow.
Arrested him. Found a encrypted hard drive in his bedroom that had 1,000 photos and videos of kids on it. And it was this guy's job to go through every single one and rack up all the charges And he said it took him 3 months because he could only do a few at a time. And then literally he would like start crying and like have to like go on a walk. And he ended up getting 67 charges out of 1,000 videos. But think about that. Somebody's job is to sit there and look at every single video because he said the number of charges is going to correlate with and there's 22 years in prison on 67 charges. And, but somebody has to do it. If you don't do it, the guy doesn't go to prison.
Yeah.
Crazy. You have some wild stories, man. Keith O'Higgins, did you guys notice all the white binders to all the white people? I did notice Liz Crokin had a black binder. Was Liz there?
No, Liz made her own mock-up and went to Palm Beach.
I don't know if it's bigger, but I was told she can never go back. Nice. Miss Rhea Freedom Fighter says, do you think we've been lied to about Hitler?
I think we've been lied to about everything.
I think that's
especially Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been lied to about everything.
And by Hitler, I mean like his actual suicide. I don't think that happened at all.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're not saying he did nothing wrong? Because that's what it sounded like, Jay Treat. I hope
Sure, I'm definitely walking that one back, Zach. He's right about a lot of stuff. Yeah.
I mean, have you ever heard any of those speeches translated? He makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense, yeah.
But have you ever seen the video, John, of him rocking back and forth at like the Olympics?
Burning Bright?
Tweaked.
No, Hitler.
Oh no, I haven't seen that. I've seen Bernie Brad do that in every one of his streams that he's ever been on. He just sits there for he'll doesn't even realize he does it, and then you call him out for it, then he'll like freeze and gets all awkward. It's funny.
I've noticed myself doing it every now and again.
I do it now and then too. It's the autism coming through.
Might be blind. I learned that when I was on the bus riding to school when I was a kid. There was a center for blind people that was right near my high school, and there'd be a couple of blind people, and they would just do this the whole time we were on the bus. And after a while, like we were all just tripping out on it. We were stupid little kids, but somebody asked the lady, like, why do you do that? And she's like, because otherwise we get car sick because we can't see anything.
Wow.
And we felt really bad because of course we were kind of mocking and making fun of probably a little bit. But yeah.
You know what's interesting is I actually grew up near a school for the blind too. And my babysitter that lived across the street from me, she was blind. Her husband was blind. They had like 7 kids that could all see. But there was, people constantly walking to the school for the blind. And Stevie Wonder went there when he was a kid.
Damn, you've got quite the blind history.
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing.
Dimed out.
Well,
I wasn't even going to brag about my stimming, but
all right. I got one quick commercial to play, and then we're all going to try to encourage people to get their virtual tickets. Hey guys, John Harold here with Badlands Media, and I have some news for you. GART 7, the Great American Restoration Tour, is hitting Las Vegas March 6th through the 9th, and Badlands Media is bringing it straight to your screen with our virtual tickets. For one awesome and patriotic price, you'll get to watch the panels live and watch the replays whenever you want. You get to see the behind-the-scenes shenanigans. You'll also get invited to the exclusive GART chat with all other ticket holders. Not only will that chat allow you to ask questions and participate in the conference live, the chat will also be open until our next event, so you get to keep chatting with your new friends long after the event is done. Grab your virtual tickets today at badlandsmedia.tv/events. GART 7, unfiltered, unstoppable, and all from your couch. So yeah, guys, GART's next week. Got to get your virtual ticket ASAP.
badlandsmedia.tv/events.
There you go.
John,
those Telegram chats go on for a very long time. I mean, I see like Myrtle Beach is still going.
Still rocking.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
A lot of fun.
John, I think you might have a future in voiceovers if you wanted to.
Dude, that took him like 2 hours. I was listening to him talking about it.
I did 2 practice runs, and I had Grok write the script.
Runs.
I did 2 recordings.
Practice.
2 recordings. So I read it twice and it was gone. But no, I disagree with you, Zach. But thank you for thinking my voice is sexy. I appreciate that.
That's not what I said, but
what you implied.
It's all right. It's all right.
All right,
You guys-
we'll get you guys out of here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hit the thumbs up. We'll see you tomorrow on the Power Hour. We got to do another exclusive Gart stream one of these days.
Yeah.
Let's do it on Monday.
Monday?
As long as I'm
I can do
driving,
it.
I don't care what time it is.
Oh, you can do it from the car?
I can just do it from the car. Yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, we'll do it Monday.
Okay.
And I'll be at a SoCal Badlanders meetup tomorrow at the Cougar Winery in Temecula, California. If anybody wants to join us. SoCal.
That's a hell of a name. The Cougar
Cougar.
Winery, huh?
Ah,
I wonder what their target demo is, huh?
it's definitely not me. Know that.
But hey, your mom.
What is that when you're like a sort of a gilf cougar, you know?
I mean, how many jokes how many like your mom jokes do you think get thrown around in that place?
Quite a few. Quite a few.
All right.
I'll let you
We'll
know.
catch y'all later.
I'll let you know at Gart. See y'all.
Peace.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.